back to the Metro Ball Grid. My name is Andre. Hopefully you're doing well. It is the top of April, so of course we're joined by a guest. The original design inspiration for the Sinister Six, it's Patrick Sklar. How's it going, man?
That's right. It's me, Patrick Sklar. Of course, I was the original Green Goblin before Harry Osborn took over,
And the
or Norman
Craven
Osborn for that matter.
and Sandman. And I think
I'm not sure.
Mysterio. Also that
Not
big
sure
guy
Craven's
in
in
a wheel. Yeah, Craven's in the Sinister Stick. He must
big
be.
guy in the wheel.
Yeah, big wheel
Wheel
man from
guy.
Spider-Man. Are you okay? Hold on. Big
Big wheel
wheel
man.
guy
Are you
from
talking about
Spider-Man.
the Spider Slayer?
No, no, no. Big wheel.
Okay.
His name is Jackson Wheel, otherwise known as
Okay.
Big Wheel. Definitely
Big
not in the
wheel.
Sinister Six, but it's Sinister Six adjacent, and he is
Sure. No, he's in the Sinister
mighty.
18, but in the bottom
Yeah.
12 of that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, this looks familiar.
Your favorite villain from your favorite Game Boy Advance Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
How's it going, Pat?
Yeah. Yeah. Things are going well. Hi, Pouch Surfer.
Oh, hold on. Oh, Reach Stream's not working. Oh, hold on. I
What?
goofed
What? What?
something, and so I goofed Restream not working correctly. So YouTube, we're streaming. Huh.
Yeah, we're streaming on both.
Yeah, but this is wrong. I do not have the
Okay.
chat set up. Oh, man. Okay, so I've been feeling, like, really foggy today, and so
hmm
firstly, the title of the stream is not updated on Twitch, so I gotta update that. This is a bit of a disaster. Hold on. I wanna see if I can change this live. I don't think I can. There's a chance. Seems unlikely. I might have actually broken everything, but that's okay. Pat, you wanna just, like,
Yeah, no,
hold
I
for a
was gonna
second?
vamp, but you were describing the process, so I'm just gonna talk about how Morbius. Honestly, can't wait to see it. Love Morbius. They've changed Morbius from what I know Morbius as, which is the guy who, because he's on a kids show, can't be depicted drinking blood, and he has like hand palm suckers that he sucks plasma out of people with. That's the Morbius I want to see. Um, who else we got? Oh, hey, Sangrin,
Hey,
Frank.
Sticker. Yo, Pat Saver, Frank, how's it going? I got it to work. I think everything's working now. So
Looks like it is. Yeah.
the party's all together. I was stressed. Yeah, it's been Pat, you and I were talking about this a bit before we started, but it's been a bit of a foggy day. I know for myself. I've
Mhm.
woken up just kind of sleepy, can't shake it, not thinking clear, just can't shake it. And I know you've been a bit upset in the stomach last couple of days. Hopefully you're feeling a
Yeah,
bit better.
I'm just getting over some food poisoning. I'm still like pretty low energy, but
Hmm.
as I said earlier, this is our rumors. This is the stream where we commit 200% beyond what our bodies and minds are capable of doing, and we
Hmm.
create magic out of that difference.
I'm just
You know,
hoping we can get some energy from somewhere else. If you can send it our way, that would be useful because we need to pick us
if
up.
like, please, oh my god, I'm desperate.
Yo, Kevin,
Oh,
how's it going? Firstly,
one with
congrats
the flu.
on the new the position at Nisei. That's super cool. Hey, Pouch, don't get sick. I'm home with the flu. Luckily, not COVID. Yo, hopefully you're feeling better soon. It is kind of that season. I know there's a lot of people getting sick all around me, not COVID stuff specifically. We had a bit of a scare last, like, what is it, 2 weeks ago, where we were in contact with someone who came down with COVID. They're okay. We were okay too. It is what it is. And I did you hear they rolled back the mask? They like rescinded the unmasking idea in Montreal or Quebec?
Yes, and I think it's like we have another 2 weeks of masking, which might I'm expecting everyone at the store camps will still be masked,
Oh yeah, for
whether it's
sure.
mandated or not, like, at
Yeah.
this point, so, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, on that note, we have a store
Um,
championship April 30th at the Silver Goblin. Pat, you're organizing this. I'm excited. That's a Saturday, he said.
Saturday the 30th, I believe, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm organizing with my friend John. He has a store champ kit from last year that, of course, we never got to use,
Hmm.
so people kept saying, like, "I wish there were more events," and I finally said, "John, like, John, we're gonna pick a time when you are free," and then I kind of took over the organizing from him.
On that note,
But I'm
we're
glad, like, we're
sorry.
doing it.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. It's been a while since we have had events. We've also are ordering in. I think as of tomorrow, are like midnight sun booster packs. So we might have those just in time for the store championship. It's really cool.
That'll be great.
Macaroni Giles, how's it
Yeah.
going, both of you? How's Friday looking on your side? Excited. I got a mansion runner this weekend. What is that?
Is that what Dan B was tweeting about a little while ago?
What's mansion runner?
Where a bunch of Netrunner folks just get together
Ooh, like
in
a
a house
house?
together, like maybe they rent a house together and just play Netrunner for 3 days straight, which sounds okay to me.
Ooh, Montreal Store Champs at
As long
Silver
as you can,
Goblin.
yeah, as long as you can break it up with other games, maybe.
Yeah, no, that's sort of like in-person play. Obviously, a lot of people are missing, myself included. So it's gonna be really excited. And even just like we saw BComs was just I think this last weekend. So you see photos of like
Mhm,
people getting together and hanging out and like going out for food and that sort of stuff like brings back, the good memories. BComs
mhm.
2022. I think Yakuza took this, if I'm not mistaken. Considering Yakuza had some of the prize support that was offered there. Oh
Yeah.
no, did Yakuza? No, Yakuza did not. I was thinking of a different event. Maybe I'm wrong. BCom 22, Ghost Shark. This is Yakuza, isn't it?
Ghost sh
I thought Yakuza won this. Hold on. Yeah, that's what it is, Pat. Going to be driving in and out, but looking forward to it. That's super
Yeah,
cool.
very cool. That's a super cool idea. Um,
It is.
yeah.
Yes.
And, like, the Netrunner community is generally been so nice, and, of course, I am such a major celebrity that I would be able to overcome my shyness and even go to an event like that with people I don't know. Because, of course, I know that I would be worshipped and revered. Um, and that really helps alleviate my shyness.
It really
So maybe we'll
does.
do that next year. We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. Extron, how's it going?
Um,
Hopefully you're doing well. Oh,
I was surprised when the organizing of this store champ that like the last event I organized was just it was just a small. It was meant to be not a big event. It was a starter event with no structure, and 3 people, including me, showed up. We had a
mhm.
fun time. And then this one I put up on Facebook, and like through Facebook, we're getting a lot of interest.
Oh,
Like people
cool.
who just are not part of the Montreal Netrunner Slack. Um,
Yeah, the Montreal Netrunner Slack is like pretty self-contained, right? Like it's not
yeah,
technically
yeah.
publicly open. Well, it is, but you have to email a website just because that Slack was created originally as a
Mhm.
private thing. So like it's
Sorry,
not
I just saw what Couch said.
rolling up the red carpet. So it's been interesting. I'm like super stoked to see people there that like we don't know
Mhm.
who have been like playing
Yeah,
at their like kitchen tables and what have you, and showing
mhm,
up and coming out for the first time. Yeah, no,
absolutely.
it's gonna be dope. I think
No,
also Pat,
it's
the
great.
last two like casual events you've organized, 2 for 2 have been in the pouring rain. Like just the
Yes.
worst timing, unfortunately. And
Oh my
I
god,
know some
just
people have canceled
miserable
just
weather.
because it's like been miserable and it's like really difficult to get in into the
I
city
know
from like the
Marc
South
Marc
Shore.
Andre canceled because he couldn't get into the city,
Yeah.
and obviously my response to him was, "Well, maybe you should have left an hour and a half earlier,
Hmm.
or gone back in time and
Camped
lived
out.
somewhere else."
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, well,
Well,
also, Montreal is still not on Nisei's list of, like, metas, which
wait,
is very frustrating
really?
because I emailed them last year or something.
Okay, yeah, this is
Yeah.
actually worth knowing. So Nisei has, if you go to their website, if you go to, I think, not players, I never know how Nisei organizes stuff, but there's like an area where they basically show you like all the different, it's under community, it's right underneath my face, around the world. And so if you go to Canada, it has Alberta, Calgary, Alberta, Edmonton, Ottawa, Toronto, and Vancouver. Yeah, there's nothing here for Montreal, which I know we've sent information, so we probably have to do that again and just ping
Mm.
Nisei to get that in. But
Yeah,
this
I'm
is,
sure, let me see what information like, is Angren saying that they'll pass that along, and that's very nice. I should complain more often. I'm too polite. But, let me see what exactly they
yeah, we did that a
sent.
long time
Yeah.
ago, and I don't think it's come through. But like, I'm not showing this out to roast Nisei. I mostly want to show this out because every once in a while, there'll be like a YouTube comment. Someone said like, "Hey, I'm playing in Berlin. Do you know how I can get involved with this?" And so I always recommend 2 things. Firstly, going to the Nisei page and checking out if there's something around your area. A lot of these will be links to Facebook groups or like WhatsApp groups or like Discord servers. And on top of that, of course, always near earthhub.net is a website that has all the good community links as well that are more than what's on Nisei's channel to some extent. That has like links to the green level clearance, has links to the Nisei tournament Discord, I guess, Netrunner Dork. So it has a lot of other places you can get to and get involved. And I'd always highly recommend green level clearance Discord as a place to meet people and get into the game.
Absolutely. Actually, people have reached out to me through Green Level Clearance, like, because if someone says, like, "Hey, how do I find out who plays in Montreal?" They say, "Well, oh, we'll ping Scorpy," and I appreciate that because then I can add them to the Slack, let them know what the next event is, and a few people have joined the Slack through that. And I think actually Silver Goblin, the store that we've run the last few events at,
Mhm.
has actually pointed someone my way as well, and that's
Yeah,
how
yeah.
we added another person.
Yeah, we had more people in the Slack for sure, which is really
Yeah.
cool. So I'm excited to see what that
Uh,
looks like.
around this time last year, I emailed op@nisei.net with description for Montreal meta. But yeah, I don't know. Like obviously that page is not the be all and end all of how to reach us, and people know they can get through other ways.
Yeah. No, we need to get a link to our Slack for sure.
Yeah, a permanent invite link would be nice. I don't know if
It doesn't
the
exist because
free
it's a
Slack.
private Slack, right? Like, they still have to
Oh man.
email it's like MTL Netrunner, and then someone has to answer that email and say, like, "You're accepted," and then it sends you an invite link.
Mhm.
It's, like, really awkward. Yeah.
We've got to do something with that at some point.
It's hard, you have to restart the Slack, I think. Macaroni says,
No, I
"Gotta get
mean,
Tokyo on the
maybe.
communities list." Yeah, totally, just reach out to Nisei. Like, they're very excited, if you reach out. Like, they want people to
Mhm.
be able to connect with other people, so, like, definitely do.
Yeah,
Even if you it's, like, not a big thing, like, that's how things start.
we could also just switch to Discord.
Nobody likes to. Like, we so
Okay,
we
all
s
right,
we
okay,
have a
all right.
Discord, but, like, no one's there. There's just so much more conversation on Slack, and, like, I use that Slack for, like, Arkham, and we have yeah, I don't know. I use
Yeah,
that Slack
it
regularly.
yeah, but it is so insular because like because we use it for Arkham and a few other games, it becomes it's not just the Montreal Network community. It is kind of this group of friends, right? Like it, I don't know.
Yeah,
I,
but
I I
it's
worry
not
I worry
by
sometimes that we it's not welcoming.
No, yeah. No, I hear you to some extent. There's still good conversations in there, but it's also, like, really hard as a new player to, like, bring your voice into a room. Like, I know I wouldn't be comfortable with it a lot of time to be like, "Oh, hi, I'm new here," and just, like, join into a conversation could be difficult. So that's why I think, like,
Hmm.
in-person events are some of the easiest ways. Like, the last
Yeah.
event that, not the last one, but the one before that was, like, the first time I met a lot of people that are in Slack in person, which is really cool
Hmm.
because now I recognize their names and, like, I think it's everyone's a bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
Ixern says,
Oh, hey, Andre.
"Hey, Andre. Yo, how's it going? It's been a minute." You were at that last event too. That's exactly the one I'm talking about. But
Mhm.
we go back longer than that. Ixern says, "I'm good. Hopefully you are driving myself a bit batty with a Raspberry Pi project. Oh, I hope it's going
Oh,
okay."
cool.
Yo, so I talked about this a long time ago. Something I said I would do when I have more time, which is definitely right now, is I'm working on the Netrunner AI project, and I have
Hmm.
sunk many an hour into it so far. I even had like a nice kind of tutorial session with my brother online last night. It took a couple hours just to talk through some basics. So basically, the idea that I have is I want to write an AI that will basically play Netrunner. It'll tell you what to
Hmm.
do. It's not actually attached to like to JNet or anything like that. That will tell you how to win by playing Runner in specifically the System Gateway Starter basic decks. And so far, I put a lot of time into it. There's like two parts to this issue. The first issue is to make a thing that understands and controls and does all the state of Netrunner as a state machine, and then on top of that you have to place the AI. And I spent a lot of time doing the state stuff, and then I really realized I recently realized that I've actually done a lot of it quite wrong. So I've kind of had to scrap a lot of it and restart a bit today, but it's going good. I one thing that I originally tried to do is I tried to make the machine actually play Netrunner, right? Like, which was technically wrong. Like, the idea is that a runner, if you hit draw a card, it would draw a card off your deck and it'd be like, oh, you drew a sure gamble or whatever. But like, that's not at all how this is meant to work. Because how this is meant to work, if you think about it for more than a minute, is that you're meant to be playing a game of Netrunner and then you tell the bot what you drew when you drew. Because it'll tell you like you should draw, but it's not going to know what you drew because it's not playing the game. You know what I mean? So I had to redo all of that. So we're kind of we're getting there, and I'll keep you updated as it goes. But it's definitely way more work. And my brother thinks I'm a bit ambitious is a good word, but maybe a bit ridiculous to do this as a starting project. It seems like a lot of work.
But But still, it is the kind of project where you are forced to learn and adapt so
Yeah.
much. Like you are going to build skill. Not that everything has to be for something else, but like you are going to learn so much doing this and messing up, and then you will do this again. You'll do the Netrunner AI 2.0, and it'll be so much better if that's the way you want to go.
Well, look, we're already there. Like, I did so much work, and then I realized, like, oh, I probably should make cards their own class, right? And then I have a
Yeah,
card class to work with. So I basically have to redo all the code where I just use a card as like list objects with like traits to it. So like it's already happening. And it's the kind of thing that happens on any creative project where you spend a lot of time going back and ripping up the stuff you've done because you've learned to do better. So you need to like at some point just kind of stick to your mistakes because yeah, you definitely learn a lot.
yeah. I can't remember if I mentioned this on stream before. I know like I've talked about it a bit with you,
Mhm.
but just before I got my new job, which I've had for 5 months, I was working with Ink, which is Inkle Studios programming language,
Okay.
and one of my little projects there was kind of simulating a text adventure Netrunner game
Cool.
where you're playing against someone and like using the Ink programming language. I'm doing things like creating a shuffled deck, having a hand of cards, yet also creating a list, and each object in the list has certain traits like Sure Gamble is added to hand. You can spend a click to play Sure Gamble, and it adds value to this variable, and so on. And it was working okay. And like I don't either I'm not proficient enough, or the programming language isn't dynamic enough. And it's not meant to be. It's meant to be like a programming language primarily for writers, not programmers.
Sure.
So I don't know if I'm missing something, but like in the end, I kind of had to brute force some of it, like kind of fake it. Like there's a lot going on
Yeah.
behind the scenes that is just ugly, to make it seem like it
But no
was
one
like a
sees that,
seamless.
you know?
But
Nobody
no one
sees
sees
that.
that
Doesn't
unless
matter.
right, until you play it like 3 times and you realize, "Oh, this thing that should be random isn't actually as random as I thought it was," or something like
Narrative
that.
experience.
It's a narrative experience. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I never got like, I actually no, I did get fairly far in that, and it was playable to an extent. Like, I treat it as if, "Okay, you're on the last turn, you're a runner with 5 points. How do you
Oh,
win
cool.
this
Okay.
turn?" Is the idea. Like, that's the idea. And so I have a functional version of that, but I also kept biting off more than I could chew. Like, "Oh, I do want to be able to play Imp, and it has virus tokens, and you can trash a card in HQ to make your second run on HQ more likely to get an agenda," and so on.
Yeah, scope will
Let's talk
always
about circuit
catch
openers,
up with
though.
you. Yeah, no, so actually, firstly, Joshua just said this real quick. Run a circuit opener. That is something I think that we want to do. I'm not sure what the discussion looks like right now on our Slack, whether people put money down for this. But I just want to say, if you want to get a
I
circuit
did.
opener, you have till the April 10th. So you have about, less than a
3
week. Oh,
days, it
three
looks like.
days. Wow,
Yeah.
to get that in. So, did you order one, Pat?
I did, and at least one other person in Slack
Okay,
did.
sick. Okay, so we
So we'll
we
have
definitely
2.
will be having those, which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Thanos says
Uh,
Metropole bot. Yeah, it's actually called Maverick right now, M4V R1C, in like a sort of byroid way. Xron says it's going great currently, just trying to transfer the software to new hardware, and it's been a total pain. It's a fake TV server that serves old school 4x3 TV shows from my media server onto a CRT with playback device on it. That sounds actually really quite cute. Speaking of AIs, Chiriboga got updated to add an interactive tutorial at some point. Very handy for new players. Oh, that's really cool.
oh, interesting. I haven't looked at that in a few weeks, so that's good to know.
Yeah, I recently recommended Chiriboga to somebody. I haven't pulled it up yet, but I definitely want to. That's the sort of thing that I'm trying to set out to beat. Is like I want to play the AI against Chiriboga and hopefully come up with a good percentage of wins. Sangren says I'm hoping I can find some time to rewrite my Aesop's table set because Trash or Busta taught me a lot. Yeah, that always like spurs you on too. Like once you finish a project, to be like, oh, I've learned so much. I can reevaluate everything. Richard says circuit opener in LA June 11th. Shameless plug. No, not at all, man. The new E3 is this new circuit opener. Oh, June 12th actually. Yo, Richard, that's my birthday.
Oh,
So
E3, come on. Don't
so
break don't break my heart like that.
it's okay. I'll be fine. Hey, Burden, how's it going?
Yeah.
All right, we got a deck of the week. We can't just stay on this page with this like shock Pikachu kind of taunting us. So we got a combo deck, and comes from Sokka. And again, I haven't shouted this out enough. Sokka has been streaming Friday nights. You can find that on twitch.tv, Sokka234, and on YouTube. So you can watch all these games. On top of that, Sokka just put out, I think it was like a week or 2 weeks ago, a Midnight Sun booster card review where he goes through all the cards and talks about them. Do check this out. This is great stuff. But we're playing a deck that he played and he got it to work on his stream. Whether we're going to be that lucky, I doubt it. I'm not going to say it's exactly a numbers game, but it's a bit tricky. And I don't know if we're going to nail it at one. So
I haven't actually seen Sokka's Midnight Sun review, but I am curious, so I will look that up.
yeah, no, it's good.
And it's all just Last Airbender, Last Airbender, Last Airbender. I'll find it.
Yeah,
I'll find
it's Sokka 234 specifically. There's a link also to get to the channel if you go into deck list of the week. So we got a combo going on here, and this is a combo. These are like there's like certain cards that exist right now from the Midnight Sun booster set, and that will be rotating once Midnight Sun fully comes out, but are still legal right now until that happens this summer. So there's some actually like interesting combos. Later today, we're going to be playing Deep Dive decks, which is one of the cards that like its value is massively inflated or at least changed by the certain cards that will rotate out eventually this year. So one of the cool things you can do with Hakarl, which is one of the ice from Midnight Sun or one of the cards from the Midnight Sun booster pack we've not played on this channel because it's I think the least exciting card, at least to me. I don't actually quite like this card. Besides the art's sick. But the idea is with this deck is that you have a bunch of ice that when you res this, you can de-res another card that gives you some ability. So Hakarl, and you basically can make, and I might struggle to understand this fully, you can make an infinite loop. So in this deck, we have Hakarl 1.0, which when you res it, you may de-res another card, and you have Anemone, which says when you res this, you may trash a card from HQ to do 2 net damage. Oh, you need a full hand. The basic idea here, and I might be a bit wrong. We might have to actually dive a bit into the description here. The idea is that Surat City Grid is a very strong combo card that always shows up in these wild Surat City decks, whether they're the NBN upgrade that whenever you res ice, there's a trace that they lose credits, you gain credits. There's some nonsense here. Or you res all your Biroids with the Brain Taping Warehouse classically. There's always like wild stuff you could do with this one. And the idea is, if I'm not mistaken, with Surat City Grid, if somebody runs into Hakarl, I think you need like 2 Hakarls on the server to make an infinite loop to some extent, is that they run into Hakarl, and then when you res this, I don't think I fully understand the combo. I should have done a bit more research. But the basic idea is that you can get this anemone rezzed and derezzed multiple times to do not infinite damage because eventually you run out of cards, but you can do a heck of a lot of damage when they run the server. The idea is that
Yeah,
you're
and
rezzing some of
mm,
these and then derezzing the other ones and then re-rezzing it over again. Because the idea with Surat is anytime that you res a card, you may res another card for 2 credits or less, which means that in theory you could res the same anemone a heck of a lot of times.
so okay, I have to take another look at City Grid because it doesn't make it's never going to make things free. It's not
No.
going to keep lowering their cost by 2. So, like, you do also need enough money to re-res Hakarl and Anemone cheaper, but it's still gonna
Yes.
cost a lot, and you need to spend all your cards. So I
Yes.
don't know if this is, like, a problem, but it's interesting. And, like, man, I'm so glad that these on-res effect ice are like, they were smart enough to specify
On this server.
during a run on the server. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
That's a really big
Like,
deal.
that could have been way too broken, but as it is, I think it's interesting and fine.
Yeah, so it's not perfectly infinite, as Sanger's pointing out, right? Like, so you do need money because you're gonna have to re-res this stuff and pay some out of pocket, 3 for each Hakarl, 1 for every enemy. But an enemy also to do something, you need cards in hand. So if you have 5 cards in hand, like ideally you only have to res 3 anemones, so that is 6 damage, which ideally is lethal. Now that math changes pretty sharply with things like I've had worse. I think that's called up in this write-up. It's like, oh, if they have I've had worse,
It
you're kind of out of luck. Or if they have
Mhm.
like what's it called? Anacon, like things get quite
Yep.
difficult. So it can work. I've no doubt it can. There's some like also some cute tech cards here for the specifically wild setup. You have Ag Infusion, so that
Mhm.
as long as some of the proper stuff is res in the right order, you can kind of force people into the server if they don't jack out because you're
Oh,
approaching,
true,
not
yeah.
encountering, which is
Mhm.
cool. On top of that, you have Replanting, which is a card no one really plays. It's a double, allows you to install 2 cards for free, which is a really big deal, and also lets you return a card. So if you've already
Mhm.
res the Hakarl earlier in the game or an enemy earlier in the game, it lets you reset that, which is actually quite cute, cool for these. And this will actually be around for a bit longer. Um, Unfortunately, we're not getting that much value. In theory, if Carl fires and someone does take a brain damage, like that's not the worst thing for this deck. This deck doesn't have like a huge scoring plan. It can actually score, like getting a Carl for brain damage. You have Kakugos, you have an enemy, you have Obakatas, you have Prisek. Like you do have a scoring plan, but this is not one of those sort of decks that actually has a backup plan on top of it with things like, punitive counter strikes or complete image. So if we can't combo, we're going to definitely struggle a wee bit, or like Data Ward, right?
Mhm. So oh, no, no, yes, but never mind.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? I don't know if I mentioned this on channel, but during that small event, which is 3 of us,
Mhm.
we were all playing with Hakarl, and we were all playing with Light the Fire. And I saw Hakarl work so well in one turn where the runner ended up taking 3 brain damage. Um, it was very fun to watch, and I think if I remember correctly, the runner came back from that because brain damage doesn't end the game.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and
Eh,
and they still ended up winning, but it was still a dramatic turn, and I think the corp was just not able to draw the card that could close it.
I agree with you, Vincent. Hakarl would have been way more sick if it prevented all paid abilities, similar to something like the HP lockdown, but it doesn't. It just
Would have been
prevents
great.
you from
That's a lot. Yeah.
using the paid abilities on Byron. Like that would be really cool. Like it stops you from using boomerang, stuff like that. That'd be cool. But like that's the issue with Hakarl. Firstly, I think Hakarl is a lot better in startup because you don't have paperclip, and paperclip is a big reason why this is like break for 3, res for 5 isn't great as a
Yeah.
trade. So and then trying to find a deck where that brain damage is impactful, and you'd rather not run like Eli, or you'd rather not run Braun 1.0. It's kind of hard to get that to work. Admittedly, in a Jinteki trap deck where people might be a bit more less apprehensive to run without having a fractor, this actually can have some teeth. As long as you can, of course, get the card D-res, which is a real cost. So you can do a brain damage, which helps you in the whole Shinteki matchup. But like in HB, like a single brain damage, even 3 brain damage, like it doesn't have a huge impact on the game currently. So we'll see where we go here. Macaroni says it also protects an OPO score. Yeah, it totally does. It definitely protects an OPO score, so you can use it, but like I don't know whether we want to blow our combo load grossly, so to say, just to protect an Obokata. Like I don't know if we're gonna get far enough there. What if you also add Badas plus the trace on res? Yeah, you go to the whole like that was the yellow package where you have the trace on res and then they lose credits, and that thing is also like super unreliable. I'm just gonna read this real quick just to make sure that we're on the right page here because I think we're gonna goof it. Because again, I'm not running at 100% today, so for better or worse, you gotta bear with us to some extent. The combos install in a single server, Surat City Grid, Prisec, and then any number of copies of Anenome and Hakarl, minimum one Anenome. Then during a res window during a run on that server, you can, all within the same window, res all of the stuff at once, deal 2 net do damage per copy of Anenome or Hakarl on that server, use Hakarl to de-res an enemy, and then re-res an enemy. So we only need Surat, a Prisec, because a Prisec is something that you can res with the Surat City Grid. That's really important. You have to res something
Mm,
in or protecting a server, not including. Okay, so yeah, the price tag is a really easy thing because you can always de-res it, I guess. Um, and then you can do the enemies over and over and over and over again. I think this deck is just missing ganked. Yeah, a lot of times it'll hopefully die on the way in, but ganked would be quite okay with this.
mhm.
Ganked with Hakarl is also kind of fun, but they have to get through the Hakarl. So if they can get through the Hakarl once, maybe they can get through it twice. All right. Also, can anyone answer this? I looked at the deck list of the week like maybe a couple days ago, and it was something wildly different in a bizarre format. It looked like a CTZ type deck with all write up. Was that an April Fool's thing, or was that just changed because nobody could play the deck because it was in a weird format? Was an April Fool's joke because I don't know what it was. It was like it had a like a Minneapolis type deck name. Yeah, it was Roseville cards, right? It had a Roseville deck name. Was that a mistake or was that like an April Fool's? Also, Pat, did you see the hats on JNet?
I did see the hats. Yeah, I looked through the cards
Yes.
and saw a lot of hats. I was happy with it.
If you all didn't know, for April Fools on JNet, a lot of the cards had added Chiriboga hats. Even Chiriboga itself got another hat, and the flavor text was a bit recursive. It was really fun. Tower of Death combo. Egg Infusion. Egg Infusion. I totally never realized that on stream, when I do drop down menus, you do not see them, which is a bit weird.
Oh, weird. Yeah,
Okay,
I never noticed. 'Cause I'm watching our Discord screen, not
yeah.
the stream.
It was April Fools with Roseville cards. Okay, because I couldn't find the deck list. Like I look into like I was like, oh, this is what we're gonna have to play on stream. We can't do that. And then I looked at like deck list of the week. It wasn't there. I could not find the deck, and I knew it's like Roseville cards. It was like very very funny. Corp. Let's go. Definitely a sense in hijack. I think they streamed a few days ago with the Roseville stuff. Oh, super cool. Yo, is that you, Nick? I'm hyped for the tournament, guys. Yo, it's been a while. How you doing, man? The drill tweets were fun, even for a
Oh
non-Twitter
yeah.
person like me. That was like last year though, right? I do enjoy a good drill tweet.
I mean, Wayland.meet was certainly my not
Yeah.
even just the interface, but just the name. I thought was very funny, and I was very happy to see that.
The sound effects also were like something else. I
The
don't know if
sound
you
effects were
remember.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you can find the hat stuff. I was also surprised too. I never realized how many alt arts there are if you go to the card section because I was looking through to search for hats. And then I realized like there's a bunch of like the old school kind of uh I don't know who makes these. Yeah, like the old school ONR booms. This is Aki. Okay, so Akira. Like these are quite fun. There's a whole bunch of these. And oh, actually we still have the hats. There's boom. Game
Oh,
over. But
there
how
we
did
go.
the hats stay on? Yeah, there's two hats, one on the rocket, one on boom. If we
Mhm.
go to Cheery, is it not Chiriboga? What's his name? Is it not Chiriboga? What's the name of the hat man?
It's base Chiriboka. Is it base with a B4?
Oh yeah, Chiriboga's not spelled like that. Who ordered him to wear that hat, but who ordered the hat to wear that hat? We're like Team Fortressing here a bit. Yeah, I totally forgot it's not spelled out. Base Chungus. How's it going? Yo, Elwin, good afternoon. Andre Pat. How's it going? Hopefully your afternoon's going okay. I have this Aki Booms in foil. Ooh, that's quite nice. That's like a fun thing too now with like proxies being entirely legal, is that there's a lot of like ONR cards that are functionally identical that you can just use those as Netrunner cards, which are really fun.
Oh, speaking of proxies, even though I haven't played Magic the Gathering in a very very long time, I
Mhm.
still spend time on the Magic the Gathering subreddit where people are kind of melting down, or were last week, because a mod is banning anyone who uses the word proxy. And it's like an auto mod thing, and
Why?
so people are like talking about the word that cannot be uttered, and they keep on posting like links to articles where Mark Rosewater, the current designer, and other people in Magic or at Wizards talk about proxies, seeing if the auto moderator can get those people banned or their articles like graylisted or something.
What do does Rosewater and Co say about proxies themselves? Like, do they encourage people to use them in casual play or no?
I think the idea is like it's not they encourage them; it's just that anything under an official tournament,
Has
they
to
say
be.
do whatever you want.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's out of
exactly.
yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, so if it's an official tournament, something if it's something that they are sanctioning, then it has to be
Yeah. Yeah.
proper cards. But even then, like, there's some people who use. Oh, I think like judges are even permitted to hand out blank cards for just one tournament if something is damaged,
Hmm.
like because it's cardboard. Like if someone spills a drink, like you are allowed to then replace the cards with
Yeah,
uh
totally.
w- with cardboard or something, but then they have to be returned to the judge and destroyed or something.
It's wild. Like I've been reading. I remember reading conversations, and specifically about Flesh and Blood, a game that's like most collectible card games can be quite expensive. And there's like
Ooh.
such conversation, but like, can I proxy these cards? Well, but if I go and pay black market fakes for the cards, and then you see some people get really angry about it, like and there's like so many reasons why people should or shouldn't get angry about this thing. It's like kind of really entertaining to some extent, right? Like some people say, like, of course, that undermines the people making the game, right? They did all this design work and distribution, and then you pay somebody else for doing an illegal forgery. That makes sense. But then other people be like, "Wait, this doesn't make sense. It's a piece of cardboard that costs like $150 for no reason, right? Like the game is
Yeah.
unaffordable. How do you bridge those two?"
And the people who say like, "Hey, I've spent $500. It's not fair for you to bring the same
Exactly.
deck
Yes.
and have spent $10.
Like
Like
that's what
it's kind
people.
of like the student debt for forgiveness argument or
Yeah,
something.
it's so wild. It's like, wait,
Mm.
no, if I paid for it, you have to pay for it, which is like, I don't understand who's winning here. Housekeeping, how's it going? I dribbled some love onto that like button. It was looking kind of lonely. Appreciate it. Thank you. We have
Yeah,
people who follow and
dribble that like button, slobber that subscribe.
we
You
have
know,
we've been steadily climbing up at like a slow but constant pace on those subscriptions. We're coming up at we're like 200 away from 5K, which is like a nice milestone on YouTube, I reckon. We're also like almost at 1 million views altogether,
we
Pat.
are. Yeah, we're like 12,500 views away from a million,
Yeah, so
which is
that's
why I'm here tonight to kind of slow that down a little bit. Try
yeah,
to try to hold us back. Why are we not? Why is no one playing our goddamn game, Andre?
I don't know. We'll figure it
We've
out.
been vamping for 5 minutes, and I don't have anything. Well, no, I can talk about a great movie, but
Another interesting thing that's kind of been noticeable, and I saw this conversation like ripple across multiple communities, is like someone posted on our Reddit r/board games the other day, and they're like, "Hey, has anybody noticed how weird Fantasy Flight Games is right now?" And it's really,
mm,
really stark if you look this up. I was talking to Maddie about this, right? If you go on Fantasy Flight Games right now and you look at their upcoming products, the
it's like
page is like
Spider Ham.
it's like 8, 9 products. Like 5,
Yeah.
6 of them are on shelf. A couple of them are in development, and that's it, right? Like it's very,
Mhm.
very countable, everything that's there. But if you do like Wayback Machine and you pull up like 2018, 2019, and you look there, the upcoming product page is like a
Constant. Yeah.
hundred. Like you
I
struggle to
I
scroll to
used
the
I
bottom.
used to I used to enjoy going to the FFG
Yeah.
page. Not because I played every game, but because it was exciting. There's always board game news.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
No, it was
yeah.
always it was something different. And like obviously there's the pandemic has been a big thing, shipping has been a big thing. On top of that, they've been
Mhm.
bought and sold by I think 2 companies just about since then. So like they're under new
Yep.
management. A lot of their teams have been like sent to different other companies. So like they've divided their stuff pretty heavily.
That's a nice way
Um
of saying laid off, but
well, I don't think they all were.
not all of them. I listened to a podcast that ends their ends the show by saying, "We play a game that was developed by people at Fantasy Flight Games who were fired
Oh
by
no.
a corporate equity firm." Yeah.
Yeah, fuck. But then this thing mirrored, like the same conversation came up on r/Arkham.
Mhm.
People are saying like it's so weird. And Arkham, they moved to this like new model, which I think is a lot better, where basically you don't get multiple packs when a cycle comes out
Yeah.
of Arkham. You get basically 2 big boxes that release at the same time, which means that there's not that many releases a year. So currently it's been months without any sort of like conversation. I'm gonna keep this hand on
Yeah, like
the
we,
front.
we used to get almost monthly or like bi-monthly news
Mhm.
because we had packs coming out every month.
Yeah.
And now we've had nothing since June or something of last year.
And what's wild is like someone from who works on the Fantasy Flight or on the Arkham team responded to it, but not in an official capacity, which for me is like pretty
Oh,
wild. That like
mhm.
I don't know. I've always like I'm glad to some extent. Obviously, they did that. Any communication is better than no communication. But like for
Yep,
someone who's worked in the video game industry, like where communication is generally monitored, right? Like that's someone's job.
yep.
For better or worse, right? Like that's can be pretty wild that like they're communicating on behalf of the company without approval from the company.
Mhm.
Anyways,
I just realized Anenome has a hat, by the way. Uh,
yeah, it's a
d-
big
didn't
hat.
did not notice that at first, despite it being a massive hat. Took me a while. I like this is wild.
Just
Uh,
wild. They
um,
know it's an enemy too. They know it's hatted.
absolutely that. Yeah.
Hold on, actually, my
Um,
volume is a bit loud. I'm just gonna pull that down. the speakers.
Yeah, now unfortunately, I'm gonna have to boot you from the stream because Floofy Key
Oh, Pat, you just cut out there. Hold on, Flippy. Are we talking about great movies? I just saw Everything Everywhere All at Once this weekend. It's amazing. I really wanted to see that one. I haven't yet. It's in theaters, and I haven't been to a theater in a really long time. Oh,
Bird and I are just gonna be talking about everything everywhere all at once.
hey,
I
Pat.
I saw it last week. Am I back, by the way?
Yes,
Am I
yes,
back? Hello?
yes,
Okay, cool.
yes.
Yeah, so I saw it last Wednesday in IMAX. Absolutely incredibly good movie.
I'm
It
very stoked to see it.
So few movies try so much and succeed on everything they try to do. It really is mind-blowing, not just from a, like, an expand your mind creative kind of way, but mind-blowing because someone accomplished this, and the actors are so good. The best actor is someone who had retired 20 years ago, and this is his first movie in 20 years, and he breaks your fucking heart. Absolutely amazing.
I think I'll end up going to a theater to see that. I'm definitely stoked.
I'm gonna see it again. There's no doubt.
Yo, there's a lot of hats going on today. Daily cast, all the hats. I don't know why Rozeki is corn. I feel like an in joke somewhere.
Yeah, does Ri did we ever what does Rizeki mean? I can't remember what
I'm not
the word
sure.
Rizeki means. It's probably
Anansi has a big spider hat, but who ordered it to wear the hat? Thimblerig is entirely hats, really.
okay, that's pretty cute. Oh,
IXWT, I missed the title of the movie, Pat. What do you got?
that was what Floofy was talking about. Everything Everywhere All at Once. It stars Michelle Yeoh and is just incredible. It's like it has the ingredients of like a big budget superhero movie in a sense, but it's not that. It doesn't fit into any mold. It's not even strictly fantasy or sci-fi. It is its own thing, and it's so extremely good. There are parts of this movie that individually will be inspiring, like student filmmakers for years to come. God, I wish I could have made like a fraction of this movie.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
Mhm.
Yo, Tanuki says FFG has been pretty much done for a while. Excuse me. All their best people have gone. Either they were let go or they moved to other things. It's really sad to see. I hope everyone's doing okay. Who's found maybe potentially more exciting things to work on or more satisfying
Yeah.
things. Thanos says also check out the flavor text. They updated that text too. Yeah, it takes such simple things to sustain us. The most important of which is to be corny. I don't know what it used to
Okay.
say there. Rizeki
Mm,
means nurture or growth. Okay, that tracks.
mm, yeah, okay.
I don't know how influential he
Um,
was in reality, but from an outside perspective, it seems like Peterson's retirement was a big hit to the direction of FFG. It seems like I don't see any way around it, but like the fact that they were bought by another company that like exists just to, they're making good bottom line like that. It's gonna have some control in it. I'm just gonna install advanced events here.
oh, corn
Uh,
on the orb. Is that the idea? Huh.
or Corb on the orb, corn on the orbs meme.
Orb on the orn.
How's it unstoppable?
The thing is, like, Arkham is still great.
Yeah.
So, like, the quality of Arkham has not diminished. Edge of the Earth was fantastic.
Mhm.
Like, they still have great people working on that. And yes, some of the bigger names have left, but like MJ Newman
Yeah, MJ's
is
killing
still
it.
there.
And Zoran, right? On that note, yo,
Yep.
we talked about this slightly. Has anybody in who's watching this has played the return to sorry, like the challenge scenario for Wendy, the alternate Wendy that FFG printed? Has anyone played it? Cornball. Yeah, I guess it is a cornball, huh? If we score this, we go down to 8. I'm not excited to score this. I think we can just barb it a bit more. I kind of want an NGO front. Whatever.
Floofy, exactly. Like, it's impossible to talk about because I want people to experience it, and some of the magic is how unexpected things are. Um, just how oh man.
Steve is gonna be a nightmare. I'm a big proponent of like not watching a trailer before going to see a movie.
I've largely stopped. I only watch trailers for movies that I am not interested in, and then maybe that converts me. But freeing myself from working in entertainment news, from start like movies and TV and video games, allows me not to look at trailers anymore, and that is so freeing.
Yeah.
I still just cultural osmosis kind of ruins things for me a little bit. Still, it's hard to avoid. Um, but in the meantime, like it has been a lot more enjoyable. I'm actually able to be surprised by things, and yeah,
Yeah, so they know that they have a mind game. I'm worried about the Steve. They've played every creative commission, double diesel, double deuces. So they're kind of set up. They just haven't found a breaker SMC yet, but I've no doubt they have it. They've gone through half their deck. They're on like 43 cards. I'm just gonna advance events NGO front. Like our money has been kind of lacking
yeah,
here.
seriously.
PMK says not yet. Her alternate looks interesting though. Her alternate card I think is fascinating. The ability, or sorry, the what's it called? The actual scenario we played, and I think me and my group found it to be, I think, one of the worst scenarios in Arkham that we've played to date. Are you guys excited or nervous with Netflix making BioShock movies? I have never been excited for an
I,
adaptation of a video game.
hmm.
And I just like, I don't understand. Like, I enjoyed BioShock and BioShock 2, and I don't want more of it. You know what I mean? Like, I
The,
just want
yeah,
something else.
the thing about people wanting adaptations of video games, to me, it feels like I want people who don't play video games to understand why I like this thing, but then the adaptation is inevitably not quite
Never
what you
that.
want.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't end up working for what you want it to do. Of course, there have been better video game movies. Like Ubisoft would argue that Werewolves Within is a video game movie, even though it's obviously a board game movie.
Yeah, I haven't watched that one
And
yet.
that was a decent one.
I think we have our server. I'm just not. Oh no, we need Surat. Excuse me. Extra copies uses is silly. Probably just a silly deep dive combo. Oh, you might be right. Maybe they are a deep dive. We haven't seen anything that's really suggested besides like the Beth. Maybe the first Silent Hill
That
movie you
said,
tried.
oh yeah,
What's the best video
that
game
said,
movie?
I was trying to think about this recently, but when it comes to Bioshock, like I was excited for that movie 10 years ago when we thought Gore Verbinski was going to make it, and now I don't know. I don't really care anymore. Much as I do like the ideas of Bioshock, and like flawed as they may be, I think there's a lot to explore there. Um,
Gene, I
yeah,
loved the D&D movie when I was a kid. I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, no, that's great.
Arcane was good. Yeah, Arcane was great. Arcane was surprisingly
Oh,
very,
yeah,
very good.
Arcane. Arcane is extremely good, of
I think
course.
the only like I'm probably missing something, but I think the only like game adaptation, and this is a bit of a cheat movie that I think was
Prince
like
of Persia,
quite
yeah.
good was Clue.
Clue is of course great.
Clue's
You're
great.
absolutely right.
They hit a
Um,
price tag, they trashed it, they hit a sprint. The Obacatas were, one of them was safe.
mm,
And it's gonna be another Paul J. Anderson masterpiece. There's
he's the Resident Evil guy, right? And he also did a Monster Hunter recently.
yeah, I've never seen any of
I
those.
man, the new Mortal Kombat movie, I think, has its fan servicey moments are very fun, but it is otherwise a very bad, disappointing movie that I feel like doesn't understand what I personally like about Mortal Kombat, and therefore fails. Because it doesn't. It's because they didn't consult me before they wrote it.
Vox Machina is good on Prime. I don't know what that is.
That barely counts, Frank. Vox Machina is an animated show based on Critical Role's first D&D campaign.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's a stretch. Uh, the Witcher is, well, I mean, the Witcher based on a book, but none of us would have heard about it if it wasn't for the video game. So
This is Mortal Kombat. Castlevania, the Hitman movies are good. I don't know. I don't think I've seen a Hitman movie. No, I definitely haven't seen a Hitman movie. Yeah, I don't know. It's not like something I'm excited, like I'd go to theater to see. They're the kind of movies like if they were at home, I'd be like, yeah, I guess I'll watch a Hitman movie. Like I watched, for better or worse, I watched the what's that one with the Rock? What's that arcade cabinet game where you play giant lizard and giant gorilla?
Rampage
Yeah, like I
was
watched
it
a Rampage film. I didn't go on my way to do it. It just happened.
yeah, yeah. No, you tripped and fell into a
Yeah.
TV screen that
We were
playing
like,
it.
I
Yeah.
guess Rampage is on Crave TV, so I guess that's my evening.
Back when we were taking planes places, like I'm a captive audience. I guess I'm gonna watch Rampage. Oh, Prince of Persia, sure.
So
Starring
they've doom
Jake
boarded
Gyllenhaal.
really hard, right? Like we haven't been talking about this game, but they have Blackstone, which is not great. They're gonna save their influence on something pretty spicy. But they have like double Rizeki. They've gone through all the cast, creative commission. The thing is like if we can get our Obokata in the remote with an enemy and 2 price X, like they haven't even found their Netmarker, which can help them draw mid run. Like I don't, if we can keep this Obokata in hand, like we're okay.
Yeah.
Rob McElhenney was always from Always Sunny, was weirdly signed to direct a WoW movie for ages. Thankfully, he made Mythic Quest instead, which is so great. I haven't watched Mythic Quest yet.
I haven't either. It looked terrible when it was first introduced at E3,
Yeah, it did not look good.
but I guess I should give it a chance because it has actors in I like Danny Pudi and Ashley Birch,
Yeah,
stuff like
Birch is
that.
great.
Um,
Putty 2 is great. Have you seen that clip
Free
of
Guy.
Putty talking to what's his name? That the I never
Oh
remember
yeah,
his name.
Larry.
Yeah, to Larry King.
Larry. Yeah,
It's
Larry,
so
I'm on
funny.
DuckTales. Yeah. How much money do you think I
Shit!
have?
They got the Obokata.
Mm.
That's bad because that was our win con there because that's the last
That
agenda
that
that
was the
cares
win,
about
yeah.
net damage. So now we actually have to just score in a remote server, which is really difficult.
Mhm.
So it's settled. We're not so hot on Bioshock show movie. I just
I'm
the
gonna watch it,
idea of it.
obviously.
No, I don't
Yeah.
think so. But yeah, I don't know.
Uh, yes, so oh, man. So Doug Jones, he came out with Moon, and I'm like, "This is my new favorite director. No one could possibly be a better director than this." And then his next, like, 3 movies have all been so completely
Is
terrible. Well, Source Code was mediocre,
is
but then
Moon
he made
the
World of
horror
Warcraft.
thriller?
Well, it's the one with, Sam
Yeah,
Rockwell.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He like,
Yes,
they're clones of himself, and he eventually, like, overlaps with the clone of
I
himself on the
really
moon.
like Sam Rockwell.
Of course, you're
Sam Rockwell is
human.
great.
You've got 2 thumbs and a heart. Of course you like Sam Rockwell. Come on. Uh, he was even good in Hitchhiker's Guide, which is a movie that I hate.
Yo,
Um,
what I watched is
I'm sorry,
entirety.
Duncan Jones? What did I say?
Duncan Jones. You've been saying I don't know. I don't know.
I've been saying a different Jones.
What have it? I watched all of just these last couple of weeks in like 2 sittings. We watched all of, which is it is deep dive. Which I know in retrospect, there's the producer is like not a well liked person at any regard, but we watched all of
Oh, Doug Jones.
you said Doug Jones. Shit. What am I trying to think of? What's the other Douglas Adams property? Dirk Gently's
Oh,
holistic
Dirk
detective
Gently. Yeah,
agencies.
so you're thinking of Max Brooks, who was the shitty guy who
No,
was
Landis,
producing.
Landis.
Damn it!
Yeah.
What is
Zero
wrong
for
with
two.
me
That's
today?
okay. We'll get through it.
This is our rumors. I'm gonna mess up every name.
Jumanji is a good film, but like the original Jumanji is sick.
Mhm.
Okay, we're destitute. We have no scoring plan. They have 22 credits. The best we can do is like drain them of everything they have, or like obviously they run into our. We
Or
need,
get them into that server.
yeah,
We
we
need
could
to
kill them.
draw an agenda.
We need a Surat, but like more than anything, we need money because they're gonna just try and deep dive in. Luckily, they only have 4 clicks because we're financially not doing great. So Beth isn't pulling her weight. I think we
Yeah,
can
so are
consider
we gonna slam the
sprinting.
Spin Doctor or sprinting? Yeah, would be good too.
Yes.
So yeah, so Free Guy was a movie that I mostly liked. Uh, there's a part with where he's fight with the fight scene towards the end is like kind of shitty, but I actually mostly liked it because it reaches for these interesting philosophical sci-fi ideas. It doesn't quite do a lot with them, but the fact that a movie like that got made and it got that even that far is pretty cool. Also, it's a movie where one of the heroic things the person does is mobilize a union within a video game, which is kind
that's
of an interesting
wild.
political statement in
Yeah.
this video game environment that we all enjoy.
So interestingly, like when they know we can't resonancy, they would have to simul-chip for. They don't even have SMC, so like if we could afford a renancy here, I assume they just wouldn't be running. But this is one of the ice that we don't generally want to res in the matchup because they bypass it for 2 credits. So now the Maker's Eye in gear, they're gonna see 3 cards, maybe even 4 with turning wheel. So we in theory could lose. Like there's still a lot of agendas in here, and there's no more obokatas, and we have no snares. So not great. Dirk Gently is entertaining, but it's wildly divergent from the source material. I knew nothing about this source material, so I guess
Yeah, I mean, I read the original book and I do remember enjoying it. Uh, I mean, Hitchhiker is still right up there for me. I reread Hitchhiker. I mean, I do reread Hitchhiker every few years, but we reread it part of my book club. And it's I hadn't really appreciated just how dark that movie is. Oh, well, this is our
okay.
chance.
No, our chance was like a minute ago when Why just remind us that we're playing Ag Infusion. We could have just returned them to like any other server. So feel
Oh, that no,
pretty bad
that is
here.
true. We could have shunted them onto the death server.
I'm gonna discard nothing.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was really bad. Well, not in the death server because they can just jack out. We don't have the money, but like we could just dodge the dirty laundry. Or sorry, the Maker's
Yeah.
Eye. Pity by Max Landis. I thought short wrestling isn't wrestling was a real good breakdown. It really was actually. I remember watching that and getting a lot more understanding of wrestling in general, which has not been a big part of my life by any means.
Hmm.
I'm just gonna do
Yeah,
this. They're
I
not
really
gonna
like
access
that.
anything, so we can just hedge fund up because we just need to get money to res death server. Dirk Gently not being renewed for season 3 hit me so hard. It really would have been fantastic. The characters. I don't know, Pat, if you've seen it, but like right at the end, the
Yeah,
characters were taking.
I love
Oh, okay, good. They're taking really good changes in direction where
it.
like
Mhm.
they were really developing, and they had some of the most fun villains too.
Yeah, no, they seriously did. Uh, who's the handsome villain?
I
I
don't know
can't
his
remember his
name.
name, but he showed up in something else. I'm like, oh, I'm just happy that actor's getting work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh no, he showed up in Schitt's Creek. He's like he's like a love interest for one of the characters in Schitt's Creek.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's an Emiker. So now they can draw once during a run. So actually, I think we have lethal now as long as we do it right.
Mhm.
Hold on.
Cormac, that's the way to go. And Netflix will reject you, but thankfully, I have $100 million in venture capital funding. I'd be willing to lend you.
I think we win. So we
Do
res
we?
the Hakarl. So we do the Surat City trigger. So we res another card with Surat City. So we res the Anenome, which does 2 damage. So we do the Anenome. So we'll discard a card to do damage. I think we have enough credits. Uh res another card with Surat City? No.
No.
So we de-res another card. So we de-res the Anenome. Then
Okay.
we res the Prisec? I think we might have
Oh, I
I
see.
think we might have goofed this.
I-
Res that? Then we do
Yeah, maybe
Anenome?
don't.
Because I need to
Yeah,
de-res
don't.
this.
Hmm.
No, I think we goofed it. Why res the Hakarl first? I think we goofed it. Oh shit, I think we goofed it. Oh no, please don't. Because I don't know how to de-res this. We have to de-res the Hakarl.
Hmm.
Oh no. Yeah, because we have to de-res the Hakarl. Whoops. Oops.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
I think. Yo, things are
I mean,
not running well here.
on the other hand, no, they've got nearly infinite money. I don't know.
Res another card with Surat City. Yeah, so we have to de-res Hakarl, which the only way to de-res Hakarl. You did de-res with Hakarl though. Yeah, so how do you do this? Why res Hakarl first? Because I don't know what I'm doing.
What is the middle ice? I can't
It's just
remember.
a thimble rig.
Okay.
Well, they could die, I guess. Nah. Yeah, no, not good. I just cannot for the life of me figure out what the correct order here is. Because you res the Hakarl. When you res, you can de-res something. So, okay, so we weren't meant to res the Hakarl, right? We were meant to res the Anenome by resing Surat to res Prisec to res the Anenome. So then we can res the Hakarl to de-res the Anenome. Yeah, I think we yeah, I think we have to let them hit the Anenome. I don't think we res this because you don't need to
Yeah,
let
like
this fire.
maybe let them go
Yes.
through
Yeah, yeah, we
part of
goofed
the
it for
server.
sure.
Yeah.
But they only have 2 cards now, so we actually can make a triple Prisec server and just win. Yeah, they don't need to hit anything. You're totally right. We had to wait for them to hit the Anenome. I just saw that and like saw red and kind of went for it. Could you move them through it again with a thimble rig? Not really. I don't think so. We have to choose another server. Yeah, we'd have lethal if we did in the right order, which is just basically res the Anenome. Then we res the Hakarl, de-res the Anenome, so we can do that 3 times if I'm not mistaken. Kako is showing up on R&D soon. Police on HQ stops him from surviving off Steve. Yeah. The thing is, like, we're not gonna draw into agendas for a while. We'd have to shuffle with Spin Doctor, but like we have double price deck and potentially we're gonna thimble rig. We have to res the thimble rig though to get the Kakugo on HQ. Surat Prisec lets you res the inner, ignore the normal res one. Yeah, yeah, I totally missed that. Totally, Kyle. That we could just res the Anenome whenever we wanted by resing Surat, resing Prisec. So we definitely goofed it up 100%. It isn't lethal. They have Unicam trigger. Yeah, but we could have done it 3 times, I think. And they only had like 4 or 5 cards.
Yeah, they don't have Anacam anymore.
Yeah. Pouch, you think I can only do 4 max damage? It felt like it. Deep Dive or the Maker's Eye? You can have the Maker's Eye. Actually, they're both really bad against Eye Confusion.
Hmm.
I think we'd rather them have the Deep Dive because they have to survive through the Kakugo. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we couldn't have done enough damage. Okay, that's a
Oh,
Kakugo.
all right. Well, that's something.
So
Put that on HQ.
we need to get that on HQ. The issue is other than the turning wheel is a problem. Oof. Okay, what do we do here? We need claw up. Resident enemy, Surat Res Hakarl, de-res enemy, Surat res enemy. 4 max need a second enemy or second Hakarl. Oh, so we hit the max? You should have let the max as the price, like that would have been lethal. They would not have. I'm pretty sure they know what
Yeah,
deck we're
they,
playing.
they could have stopped. They could
Yeah,
have
yeah,
stopped
they could have
themselves.
jacked out. How's it going, JTF?
I mean, you can like install Kokugo and Aiki over like above Kokugo. That gives you a non-turning wheelable server.
Yeah, I think we have to do both of these. The problem is that we do install credit. We could only res one of them. I think that's
That's
the best we got.
that's not terrible. Like Aiki is pretty mean at this point.
If we lose the Spin Doctor, it's really awkward because we can't shuffle the deck.
So don't lose the Spin Doctor. Simple as that.
Oh, whoa, that's not right.
Sorry, what just happened?
Yeah. Things are not running too smoothly today. In my head, or JNet seems to be a bit stodgy.
Yeah, we can blame JNet.
Yeah, it's easier like that. Okay, now we're one credit short. Ideally, we could res both of these so they can't like really go off the call it the turning wheel and this. I think here we have to res the Ike.
I think that's fair. Like,
oh man, we're losing the Spin Doctor. That's really bad. No, I'm gonna res the Kakugo because I think we'll keep the Spin Doctor if that happens.
they're just gonna get three.
Yeah, that's
counters, though.
fine. That's better. Like they have the money to
Yeah,
run
I
HQ
suppose so.
4 times anyways to get the counters. Like money's not the issue. They know this is an Anansi, right? Like they can just bounce off of R&D if this is not a thing.
You can use the Spin Doctor to get a discount res. That's cool. Or unless they trash the Spin Doctor. That's crazy. I didn't think they'd do that.
Oh, the trash the Spin Doctor?
Well, they're going all the way through.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
We have one card in hand. Get rid of the Maker's Eye. I don't know. Maybe it's actually right to get rid of the Deep Dive. They could like go for it and potentially win, but have this Kakugo. Maybe there's a chance actually they have 3 Deep Dives in hand. Yeah, there's actually a big chance that the Maker's Eye. No, I don't know. The thing is, like here we can just rip their Anansi, like rip the Nancy to throw them into Hakarl. This is gonna be close. Yeah, I think we have to Anansi here. Otherwise, they're gonna deep dive us. What is this to break? 4 credits? They want to just not take a brain damage? Oh, that's gonna be an issue. Yeah, how do we have to de-res this twice? Is it even possible? I don't think so. Can we res and de-res the Hakarl? No, it's always, you have to read this sideways. You may de-res another, no. Yeah, they're just gonna take the underrun here. There's the after image again. That's why we don't res the Nazi. They bypass it for 2. And I think we're top decking an NGO Frontier, which is actually kind of awkward. But at least we can consider doing it install advanced credit.
And when we res it with Surat, we get a cheap res. And then we can use it to res Thimble Rig, which is not nothing.
They can't bypass the Nazi though? How do I never remember that? Okay, well they break it for like 5 credits? No, 4 credits? Oh, it's a hedge fund. Shit. Okay, well.
Do we draw?
No, because we know what we're drawing into.
Risky? Yeah.
We want to just keep the top of the deck clear.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Seabass, you need a second enemy or call to do 6 damage. As soon as we get something into the remote server, like we'll be fine. Like double Prisek. We need like a 3rd Prisek or the 3rd Kakugo. This is gonna get, if they played one more card, it'd be bad for them. I think my camo is like slightly always too warm. Okay, I'm gonna res the Ike here. So they just can't get free counters.
If Deep Dive was the plan, they should start with R&D, then do HQ, so that they can be guaranteed to have a Deep Dive in hand at the end of the turn.
If they have 2 Deep Dives, which they don't.
Which they don't, but yeah.
Here, like in some ways, it gets them an extra hit point back. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think you're totally wrong. Don't they win if they just access the agenda first? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's true.
Which is a bummer of us scoring a double oboe early. You want to keep these for the late game so that your ice matters. Okay. Going through, losing an Anenome, not drawing, losing a Dirty Laundry, accessing HQ. They'll show us 2 cards. Their card draw doesn't matter. There's not that many cards that matter. It's just all the multi-access here. There's no deep dives. Maybe it's going to be Jailbreak and something else. I don't know what it'd be. They have a lot of money, mind you. They have a net marker behind. The draw on it doesn't really matter. They start using R&D. You can bump them with Ike using Eigenfusion. Yeah, we need to get unres dice here. Jailbreaker pad tap. You can have the pad tap. Advanced assembly lines would work better than the advanced place of price hack. Not really, Otto, because you can't. Firstly, how's it going? You can't use the advanced assembly lines to install during the res. It's like better because it's credit positive, but I don't think that's like that's. You can just play another hedge fund and get through it.
No, no. I mean, I see where Otto's coming from. Like, yeah, you get more money to be able to res
Like you can
Morpheus.
infinitely res it to some extent if you have the full combo. That's totally true. But like the combo itself is not very expensive. Advanced assembly lines is also like 3 influence or something wild.
Mm.
Okay, so they only have a couple more runs in them, right? Like if they dump their turning wheel here, we know it's safe. So I think they're deep diving here, right? And we missed the deep dive. Is the last card in their hand a deep dive?
I think so.
Oh,
where is it? If not,
and they see the top 8. I think we know 4 of them. So the deep dive is the last card, and there's no agenda there. So I think we win.
we must.
They have no cards left.
What can they possibly do? Yeah, they can't get through two of our.
Well, no, we need a Kakugo on the remote server, and they're going to shuffle the deck, so we're not going to get the Kakugo. But like the remote server, they can still get through.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we just trash? Can we?
Yes.
Trash all the ice on server 1 and replace it with the Kakugo.
Yeah. We're gonna just go get rid of everything. We don't have to do it yet. I think we're just gonna.
No, we can just gain credits because, yeah, we know that R&D is safe.
They didn't wait through the bacterial. No, they didn't. But they're seeing 8, right? Like we could have, if with the bacterial, if we saw an agenda, we would have put it on the bottom of the bacterial anyways. So I don't think they want to wait through the bacterial because it's likely we saw an agenda with the bacterial and we didn't archives that we didn't add it to hand. So I think not waiting the bacterial is correct because they saw half the end of the bacterial and then half new cards. But yeah, cards matter.
That's why you don't play a 40 card deck, people. That's it.
They were on 43.
That's the Patrick style smoke deck.
Okay, so there's nothing they can do, right? Unless they like tread lightly. So no, they have no cards. What am I talking about?
Do not forget Kakugo. Do not forget Kakugo. There we go.
Sad wheel not spinning. Yeah, they can't really use the turning wheel during the deep dive. GG. I top decked the Kakugo straight after. Also, an enemy they have to watch out, which is wild. So it's not just the Kakugo. An enemy would have been safe there. It's going to be a couple turns that we scored out. Like we probably should have waited for the hedge fund because now it's actually quite awkward. Like we did goof it. They thought it was an enemy. Yeah, in theory, we should have just hedge fund there. Straight after the shuffle. Tail and bacterial is more likely agendas than random cards. Yes, exactly. Yeah, this is annoying. We should have waited for the hedge fund and not pushed for this play. But then enemy would have been lethal there too. That's what they were hoping for. So can't lose them all.
Well, if that's what they were hoping for, they could just walk through Kakugo.
Oh, yeah.
So that's on them.
I guess credit. Like we have to wait 2 more turns. Yeah, they tried.
The Scott Uminga thimble rig alt art that we got from Worlds is one of my favorite alt arts ever produced for Netrunner. It's such a gorgeous card. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you not seen it?
I have seen it. I don't think I've looked at it. Like I haven't played with it yet, so I looked at it quite quickly, honestly. Could have res the Kakugo cheap with Surat? Yeah, that's actually quite true. We could have res this to res this for 2. Yeah, it's gonna be sloppy tonight, so buckle up. All right. Wow. Scott is so good. He really is. Glad he's doing most of the alt arts for the Project Katara. Do you know how that project is going? Has it like what percent it's at? I saw somebody did a full data pack or something because I was looking through the Make Playing Cards gallery, but it wasn't Scott Uminga. Somebody had done a set of Katara cards.
Yeah, he's certainly doing a bunch of them, but I don't think I think it's kind of widely distributed among
it's a community
fans
thing.
and artists. Yeah.
All right, they're just gonna eat it here. 4 to 5
Just slop
cards
them
left.
up, boys.
Well, it's up to you.
Just slop all over that like button.
Oh no.
Spit on that follow.
One I have to draw. Get out, Pouch. Which one are you drawing? Hey, good game. It was wild.
Oh yeah, which one are you drawing?
Thanks for the game. Kampala Thunder was done a while back by Antares. I think that's the one I saw. Yeah, totally wild. Yeah, that was actually pretty wild. We had very no credits, 65 credits to 107, but they like double Rezeki'd pretty early, had all the creative commissions, like they were set up. And you see all they wanted to do was like combo out. Like camp the remote a bit and then just swing in with the deep dive, which is only a 1 of in the deck, which is kind of cool. They got fortunate enough that it survived through a double Kakagu run with only, I think, 2.5 cards in hand. You see dive, you dive. I'm shocked it survived all the Kakugos. They pulled it back, and like, you know, DJ Fenders obviously helps. We chose to give it back because the Maker's Eye is a bit harder to deal with because they can Maker's Eye and not lose the card. It technically would have been better for us because we knew the top cards of the deck, but maybe they wouldn't have gone in. So
Oh, Pouch Surfer's doing 419 is the art.
That's
cool.
a really good one you got. Yeah.
Yeah. If I were to do, you know what? I kind of want to see what Kampala Ascendant looks like. It's on Make Playing Cards, right?
Yeah, I think so. Good luck with that website too. Yeah, I know you're not 100% deep dive, but people slot that net tech. I like the DJ Fenris and wanna dive. It's much more elegant. Caldera. What's the name of the guy? Guru Devender.
Devender, yeah.
Bookmark. There's a bunch of options.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not seeing like a place where I can see all of these cards, all the art on these cards, which I'd like to.
I think there's a set somewhere. Well, there was a set on Make Playing Cards that was labeled. I think it's Antares' Kampala Ascendant.
That's what I'm looking at. But the only preview on Make Playing Cards is
Oh, they don't show you everything. Yeah.
4 cards or so, which they look like. I like Antares is like kind of very abstract, just like like polygonal approach to these. I do wish Hippo looked more like a hippo. Obviously, if that were my card, I would do everything in my power to just make it a hippo shaped piece of hardware.
Oh, there's an Imager album
Yes.
with all the cards. Okay, cool.
Oh, is there? Okay, I didn't see. Sorry.
How's it going, by the way, Drunk? Wait, Deep Dive was a 1 of? Yeah, not paying attention. Figured DJ Cambridge was a trick. They let them play 1 or 2, even if they were both sniped from hand. Yeah, no, let them recur. It's just a good value card, right?
Yeah, they kept recurring it with Steve Cambridge. I assumed they had 2 in hand at one point, and they're like, oh, but they're down to just 1 card, and we haven't seen them use it. So.
All right. I think we're going to be doing our own deep diving tonight, huh? Which I think is a
so.
lot more straightforward because you can do like 100% deep dive decks, which I think are the majority of Shaper decks we saw on stream for the first couple weeks. And we never like, if you can't beat him, join him. So I think at this point, we're just going to join him and see how it goes. Pouch, you can try to put links. It gets a bit dodgy. If you can just put like the Imager, like, I don't know, maybe try. If that works, doesn't work, like it all does it on the YouTube side. It's like automatic. It's not like it asks me for approval. Yeah, so I think we needed another here. yeah. Hey, cheers. Tune in 3 res Kakago. Yo, yeah, Wenagon, we got them right at the end. They deep dive through 2 Kakagos and saw nothing. And then we that was their last card. Deep dive and Steve with Swift is nice. I'm like okay, so Swift is obviously okay with deep dive. I just don't see why you would play deep dive deck and not play the faction that can play 6 out of the Ashes and Beth Killer and Chang without influence. Like it's 600 light years better than just having an extra click with Swift. And you have to play a run event, right? So I've been enjoying deep dive Tau. Yeah, I guess Tau's quite okay. Do you run enough that you see what the ice is to reposition it, or do you just like check what deuces?
I think Deep Dive Tau is interesting because it kind of forces the corp into a fork, whereas Tau when you're facing Tau you don't want to ice up archives, but if they're playing something like Deep Dive, really want to ice up archives, and it kind of forces more ice on the table for Tau to play with.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I don't know how. Like, I think you just move ice blindly. Like, I don't think you have to see it. Okay, I found it, Pat. So this is the stuff. Again, this is all Make Playing Cards and Terrace. So you have Kampala Ascendant Entirety, which I think is probably a very good pack. So you have
Mhm.
Zero, Musashi, Hippo,
Mhm.
Amina. That's sick. Horse riding.
Mm.
Diversion funds. Obviously, quite a
Cute. I like that.
necessary card. Pad tap, sensitive information transfer.
Interesting.
Reclaim, pulling Namaku out of the bin. Angolo, getting
Mhm.
those flying kicks. Flame out. This is a really good pack. Black
Yeah.
Hat. Kasi string. Aw.
Hmm.
All right, we got to turn our heads a bit. Next diamond. Hey, don't never been a problem in my life. Riot suppression. Oh, that's the HB one. Yeah, right. The HB reprisal.
Mhm.
Matima Kundo, unfortunately
Tea.
banned,
There we
but
go.
if you haven't played this, I'd recommend just playing this casually. It's incredibly powerful. Lindsay, 21 more images. What? Better Citizens Program, 4-2 agenda. Not very
Oh yeah.
relevant. Market forces, quite a relevant card. Watch the stocks go up and down. Surveyor, this is
Surveyor.
an immense pack. HPT, are you
Yeah. No,
serious?
certainly, certainly one of the most powerful packs that's been
Is
released.
that George Bush ducking a shoe? I think that is George Bush ducking a shoe. Am I wrong on this?
No. I think that must be the image that that's based on.
Yeah. False flag. And then these are
Mhm.
not from, these are just more cards I think might be in the pack, but
Just
I
for
don't
fun,
know.
I guess.
Yeah. Ice Carver, that's good. Yeah, 100% Street Up. Isla Bios Raheem. Somebody pointed out Isla last week as something that we could have played, and I always forget Isla
Mm.
exists, unfortunately.
Yeah, because her ability is not ever as impressive or exciting as you want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
We have no regrets.
yeah, no regrets. Aesop's Pawn Shop. You got Steve Cambridge. Nice
Mm.
handshake. Yeah. That's an E shutdown. Forge activation. Those are really fun. Femme Fatale. That's
That's a
nice.
good femme fatale. I love that femme fatale.
Archive memories. I like the simplicity on the text boxes.
Mhm.
Rototurret, Troubleshooter, Trickle Light. Oh, that's cool. Swordsman, NEH, Sand, and a toll booth there at the end, and the run on the sign.
Yeah,
That's cool.
there's some great designs. That's a
Yep.
lot of cool art there.
There's a lot of like really good cards that if from the FFG days are really hard to pick up. So stuff like this is incredibly appreciated too. Not only if you want
I
like
don't
different versions, but just like so you can have access to, make playing cards, printed cardboard.
Yeah, I don't think all that's in the Kampala Ascendant pack, but maybe Anataris has their own shop.
They definitely do.
Yeah, they must.
Treating like Town more than
Speak.
Smoke because it's a bit more disruptive. That I agree with.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Pat, you want to start spelunking? I don't think there's any real news. Nisei put out an article that announces their web team.
Hmm.
So they got some Nisei web devs. So we were saying hello to Simon Howe Ho, web dev team lead. And there's some interviews. We have Ams, web from the web dev team, and Paul Lama from web dev team. So if you want to know a bit more about the nice people that are running the web dev side of Nisei, that's
Mm.
super awesome. Check that out. Again, always, if you want to get involved, Nisei is always looking for people as a nonprofit and volunteers to help out with all this stuff at any
Mhm.
level of talent. I reckon they can always use your skills, but super cool getting
Do,
involved.
speaking of web development, do you have like a Nisei web development wish list of things that could be added or improved, features, things like that?
I don't know. So, like, I'm not exactly sure what falls within the Nisei portfolio. I know something that we didn't mention is recently. I know they mentioned this a while ago. Maybe it was at Worlds last year, or maybe even the year before. But one of the big things they wanted to do this year, moving forward, if is
Mhm.
just focus on Jinteki.net, focus on moderation. And so this
Mhm.
was shouted out, I think, a week ago now that the Chiteki now has a mod team. And so there's a bunch of names
Yeah,
here that
that's
you
great.
probably actually recognize. Big Unit on the mod, Doomrat, Gyo, Netscape Navigator, and Sokka, who again has a deck list of the week right here. So they're going to be doing a lot more moderating here on JNet. For what's worth, the JNet front page is kind of awful sometimes,
Yeah.
for much
Mhm.
worse than better. So having this be like a space that more people are excited to be part of is super cool, and I know that was a focus of JNet. I'd love to see like more. Obviously so much gets done already, that's great. I know Nisei said specifically the implementation of the last like Midnight Sun booster cards wasn't as elegant as they wanted to, but there were some extenuating circumstances there. um
I
yeah.
mean, from the article, I think that like the Nisei site, of course, JNet to a certain extent, and Netrunner DB
Okay.
are mostly what they're working on.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
integration between NetRDB and JNet, like that's good. It's a bit broken right now, but it's been pretty good.
Mm.
Things like Angel Arena, different formats, stuff like that's really exciting. I'd love to see Flare and stuff like that here. Like the idea that if you win an online tournament, to have that title
Oh,
follow
of
you
course,
into
yeah.
lobbies, stuff like that can be pretty cool. More customization is good. The fact that you can choose what cards you get the art of is really fantastic. I'm not too sure. I think there's always like organizational issues. This is not like a dev thing exactly with the Nisei website. It's not 100% always clear where to go to find certain things, but it's never that difficult.
Mhm. I mean, for me, I think their website, like the Nisei website, I think could I like that there are blog posts,
Mhm.
but I don't like that the blog posts are the first thing you see. I think the first thing you see should be a super simple,
Mhm.
straightforward. This is what's happening with Netrunner.
Yes.
Even like put an FAQ on the front page. I mean, they have a small FAQ. They've got like what is Nisei, but they just need like here is what's currently legal. Here's the rotation schedule. There are so many questions that come up constantly
Yeah, I agree.
that you have to search like just one or two steps too much to find the answers to,
Yeah, yeah.
and that should be what the front page of Nisei is about.
No, when people ask
Much
about
much
Netrunner, yeah, I send them here, and you're right. This is the button, which is not maybe the clearest, but
Mhm.
yeah, I totally.
Yeah, as much as I like keeping up with the blog post because I enjoy the Nisei people and what they're working on, and I like keeping up with the news, but that's not what I think their website should be first and foremost devoted to.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I'm interested to see what
Yeah.
they did. I don't know if they've talked about specifically what they're excited to do.
Mhm.
Hey, Lamilla, how's it
Hi,
going?
Lamilla.
Hey, Andre. Hey, Pat. I'm gonna be listening while I play Elden Ring. Hope you're both well. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. Doing better, I reckon.
Yeah,
How's your
doing
Elden Ring
okay.
so far? I really want the
Are you
match
still
play in JNet. Sorry, Pat, I
I
cut
really
you
want
off.
I was just asking if you're still playing Elden Ring.
Kind of. Not really. I wanted to talk about this a bit last week, but I got to a point in Elden Ring where
Mhm,
I feel like Elden Ring has so many systems that I'm not participating with because I'm pretty
mhm,
like rigid with how I play FromSoft games. Like I generally don't touch magic. I'm not summoning. So basically, I'm just playing a Dark Souls game in an open world, and there's
mhm.
so much of it, and the difficulty is like in some ways less fun than other games because it's not. I'm not like a huge proponent. Like I don't love open world games. It's not my
You feel like
favorite
it's not
genre.
it's the difficulty isn't balanced around the kind of game you want to be playing, you
It's like
think?
I'm finding myself in weird situations where like I'm fighting against something and it's really difficult, and a lot of times it's like difficult for non-fun ways. Like I got really
Mhm,
frustrated. I was playing against this one thing in the forest that spawns this mist that if you stay in it too long, you literally die. Like its
mhm,
status effect is death. And then you get caught on a tree because the targeting is bad, and then you just die, and you have to like well, wipe and do it again, which isn't a real cost. It's just kind of frustrating. But the issue is like with the open world nature of it, and this is meant to be an exciting like selling feature. Is like I don't know whether I'm should be fighting against this thing or whether I should just come back later. And that's in some ways what's a really good thing about this game and makes it very approachable for a lot of people is that it allows you to do that. Like, are you struggling against Margit? Go farm, come back later, like do a bunch of other side stuff. I think maybe my biggest issue with Elden Ring by a mile, and again, this is largely because I don't experience with magic, I don't experiment with summons. So I've been playing for I think we're 30 hours in, me and Maddie are playing, and for like the last 15 hours, I've been playing with the same weapon and the same armor set. Like the game has not been doing a good enough job rewarding me for exploring outside of giving me like, oh, here's one of the things you need to get another flask, which is obviously incredibly useful. Or like every once in a while you find the crafting material to upgrade your sword, but like these resources are so constrained, especially when it comes to weapons. Like the game has like hundreds of weapons, but like the materials you need to upgrade your weapon to be competitive, the investment is so high that you can't really afford to like diverge. Like I can't without sinking a lot of time like go get another weapon up to the same level that my current weapon is. So like there's just I'm not experimenting. So much of the loot to me is just it doesn't matter, which is
mhm.
unfortunate. Like it's really upsetting for that reason. It's like I'm not oh explore. I found a chest. What's in it? Some helmet that's way worse than the helmet I've had for the last 15 hours.
Mhm. Um, Lamilla is already through one playthrough and is partway through their next one.
Ooh, that's a really cool thing,
Uh,
right? Because
yeah.
I've seen so many YouTube videos where people will be like, I'm gonna play this game without attacking, like a pacifist run. I'm gonna play this game by only using this like weird weapon. And like the game has so much to offer, has so many systems. But like, yeah, I don't know. I'm struggling to get through it for sure. Been to mines for smithing stones,
Paul
I have. But I think the weapon I'm using is specifically needs that shiny smithing stone, whatever the other alternate smithing stone is, and I need like a +6, and I just haven't found any +6s yet. Like I'm stuck on the +5s.
Paul was saying, "Have you played Tunic?" I have played about an hour and a half of Tunic, and I really like it. I'm going to continue because a friend of mine is also playing, and like we're kind of going to compare notes. But Tunic looks very promising. It evokes something in me that I haven't felt in a long time, which is this very specific nostalgia of renting a video game from the Morin Heights video store on your way up to the cottage so you can spend all your time indoors instead of going out into the wilderness like your parents want you to,
Yeah.
and just reading through the manual on the drive up to the house because you just want to like absorb whatever you can about the game before you get there. And Tunic is very. Do you know anything about Tunic, Andre?
Um, no, I know it's like old school Zelda-esque. I think probably the closest thing I think it to is that what is that game? I played this one. I don't even remember the name of it, which was definitely a very pleasant game, but that like one with the bird, the crow,
Death's
Death's Door. Yeah,
not
yeah,
Death's.
Death's Door.
It is Death's Door.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think that's probably the closest thing I've played to it recently.
Mhm. Yes. So Tunic, I guess like the mechanically it might be similar to that, but
Mhm.
primarily the thing about Tunic that's interesting is a lot of some of the treasure you find are scraps of the manual to the very game you're playing,
Oh, that's cool.
and the manual is written in maybe 80% incomprehensible language,
Oh,
um, and also some iconography and stuff. So like, it doesn't tell you how to move around. You don't know how to run. I figured out how to run pretty early on, but like, it doesn't tell you how to run, and
yeah.
that's a fundamental aspect of action games. But in the first scrap of the manual you find, you're like, oh, it actually shows you more or less how to run if you can like kind of get over the language barrier. It's like you bought a used game from Japan and you can't speak Japanese,
So like
but you're pouring through the manual to try and figure out what's going on, and the manual's been ripped to shreds, and you're trying to piece it together
the whole
at the
cottage
same time.
industry of like, YouTube videos and internet content where people will be like tips to play this. Does that not exist because it undermines like the inherent value
I
of a
I
lot of the
I
game
think so, like,
systems?
that is the game, yeah.
Yeah, that's super
The
cool.
tips are the game. Mhm.
My next run after this one, I'm gonna be doing an Ongo Bunga strength run. That's like a I'm so excited about Elden Ring that it supports that sort of flexibility.
But
Um,
deep dive.
yeah, excuse me. Sorry, I just want to catch up on chat real quick. The feeling of
Mhm.
should I be here is huge in the beginning, but I slowly started to let go of that and enjoy the ride. I'm like 150 hours in Journey 2. Ooh, that's great.
Hmm.
What do y'all feel about the difficulty in Elden Ring? Because I've heard a lot of like criticism that it like obviously these games are quite hard. I've beat all the Souls games. Like that's I'm obviously on board for that, but like you're still getting one shot in like bosses, even though if you build like a full armor build, seems to be a bit upsetting. Pat, you say that like
Uh,
Japanese is hard to read or something.
yeah, like, no, you make a good point. My Japanese friend says Japanese is very easy to read, so it must be something wrong with me.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. I made a second character to use all faith weapons and like lean more into the role play, and now I can invade low level people. Yeah, also I don't play with the multiplayer stuff. I need to look into all this stuff. It's like acquiring a game in another language with a torrent rulebook.
Mhm,
That does sound really cool.
mhm.
Okay, deep dive. So
Deep dive.
this is one of the cards. There's like a series of these like quest completed cards in the game that reward you for running all three servers in the same turn. And again, this card's value is a lot different than it might be in the future because right now, one of the cards that you can play 6 in Shaper is from the Ashes. Or is it called from the Out of the Ashes?
Out of
Excuse
the
me.
Ashes? Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which allows you to get free runs as long as you banish these from your heap. So get all these into your heap by just drawing massively, having a small deck with 40 cards with Tau, and then you're off to the races. So you actually can make runs on central servers and still have 4 to 5 clicks left. Now, Deep Dive again will be, I'm just gonna hit 6, but we might not need 6. Deep Dive will be supported when they said when Midnight Sun comes out with additional cards to give you additional clicks. They said there'll be a Cybernetics card that will give you clicks so you can get extra clicks. There are other ways, mind you, in Shaper to get additional clicks outside of Out of the Ashes, but Out of the Ashes is like by a mile the easiest to play. On top of that, you have Beth. She's great too. You have to
Yep.
find a good reason not to play Beth in most decks, and I don't think you really can. And on top of that, you have other weird things like what's the not Chatterjee, but Temple of the Liberated Mind, I guess. But again,
Yeah, the one that,
not great.
yeah, that one. You kind of exchange clicks from one turn to the next.
Yeah, which generally isn't
Eh.
great. There was that one card that still exists that needs 5 clicks on a turn. That you actually need 5 clicks, so you need Beth or Temple of the
Uh,
Liberated Mind. You can't Out of the Ashes
Investigative
it.
journalism, yeah.
Oh, no, even the other one, like the one that you get this
Oh,
as a
that
two
becomes an
agenda.
agenda,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that one's really fun. Stoppable says Elden Ring finally clicking with me the way other Souls games haven't because it's something that's too hard. You can just leave and go do something else. Yeah, I think that's a huge part. Stoppable. That's like
Mm.
a really big part of why that game is potentially approachable. Ian says the late game bosses were tough, Rodden especially so. But I'm a masochist who likes the From Software loop of you learning all the bosses' tells and learning how to perfectly dodge roll everything. They're the ways that bosses work in Elden Ring, I can appreciate that they're much more interesting. Like the windows of when you can attack are like way smaller. It's not just trading blows like they were in old Souls games. They also like are programmed more obviously to do things. Like there's a lot of bosses, as soon as you heal, they will do a ranged attack on that frame. So like trying to figure out when to do things is kind of wild. I'm kind of curious, how does the power of the new cards vary between formats, standard versus startup? Paul, it's actually not too different. So in standard, it's everything, right? So there's higher highs and lower lows just because there's a big card pool. But some of the most powerful cards in the game are legal in the startup format. Like DSA did put out really, really powerful cards within the new set. System Gateway has some of the strongest cards, for instance. Now, I don't think it's totally even. I think in the Ashes cycle, the first part of Ashes Downfall isn't as strong, generally as strong, and then they kind of got their footing and it got more consistently hitting that average power level you'd assume. But I do not think it's totally wild. I think also when it comes to like Netrunner, there's certain sets in standard that are just above the curve. Are 6 out of the Ashes necessary? No.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, we just played a game with Hakarl and Anemone where their power was showcased via Surat City Grid. Like, those are cards that do not have a lot of support in startup yet. Like, they are promises of interesting things to come. They are not powerful yet. Like, they're powerful enough in startup that, like, I think an enemy is gonna be see play anyway. But like, I don't think Hakarl has enough useful use cases
Yeah,
outside of some weird combos that currently exist in standard.
but startup's
So
also,
that's one that.
sorry, but
Sorry, you want?
I was just saying
No, no,
startup
no.
is inherently quite narrow. Just there isn't as
Mhm.
big of a card pool. So again, the highs stand higher, but also like the sort of cards you need for a Carl to be a powerful card, like we currently don't have them. But again, we've only seen one card that's HB from System Gateway, right? Or from excuse me,
Yeah.
from Midnight Sun. Um, okay, back to the deck. This has always been the
Okay.
issue for me.
Mhm.
If I'm running all 3 central servers, I want to Apocalypse
You
because
kinda wanna play
Apocalypse is
Apocalypse
kind
instead,
of the
yeah.
stronger card. Out of the Ashes
Mhm.
can win you the game. Not generally one out of the Ashes. You generally need 2, and you need to see 3 agendas within 16 cards, which is not impossible. You're kind of, that's about a bit higher than average in a lot of decks. But again, if the deck is slow and keeps spin doctoring and sprinting agendas back in the deck, that might just work. But you can Apocalypse first. You can run all
Mhm.
servers, you can deep dive. In fact, Encore is still illegal too, which might be just
Yeah.
overkill, but we can do the
Yeah,
comboist combo deck.
the interesting thing is Apocalypse doesn't end games. Deep Dive potentially does. But if you Apocalypse first, Deep Dive is so much easier to pull off. So ideally you do 2 turns in a row of Apocalypse followed by a Deep Dive.
I don't think that's right though, right? Like, okay, so
You don't
if
think
you
it's right?
apocalypse someone, I don't think you want to deep dive next turn because they're generally going to ice up one of those servers, so you can't. So the best thing you can do after apocalypse is like conduit, right? Or like
Hmm,
equivocation. Like I think you
maybe.
maybe do it all first and then last click. Like I think the way I see it is that you would want to deep dive, deep dive, deep dive, and if that fails on your last click, you apocalypse, and then from there you
Hmm.
hold on, right? I don't even know if you have to encore. You probably don't. It's probably tricky to play this too because you're gonna have to spend all your clicks doing this anyways. And once you encore, right? Like I guess in theory you could encore and then cheaply out of the ashes. I don't know. I mean, you could just play Reg Shaper and not lean into the combo. Sangren, we're gonna definitely lean into the combo as hard as possible for
Yeah,
the
yeah,
first deck.
that's the point. Like, we're
Yeah,
trying to make it interesting.
just play
Also,
exploit.
if we're playing Shaper, we can put Aesops in. I guess no, if we're not relying on Apocalypse, maybe it's not worth it. But yeah.
Yeah, you could put ace ups in. I don't know if you have to. Another really big thing that Shaper does with this really well is that you have cards like a Gauss and you have
Mhm.
cards like Euler as well. So these cards are stronger the turn that you install them. Gauss comes in at 4 strength, which is pretty relevant against like IP block. You don't see that many high strength barriers, but Euler is the biggest one because the turn it comes in, you break a lot of code gates in the game for pennies, if not free. So the idea is that if you can clicklessly install this with something like self-modifying code or simulchip, you're kind of good to go. Uh, you do need all your breakers. Another really good thing that works for these is arguably you could get really unlucky, but Revolver is also quite good because it only has 7 shots, 6.5, right? But if you
Mhm.
blow up the board or win, you only need to run through like 2 sentries maybe. So we'll see.
Yeah, if you have Apocalypse, Encore, and Deep Dive in your hand, and you're able to pull off, and you have Out of the Ashes in the discard pile, then you've got yourself a good a good Deep Dive follow up.
No, but I don't think you do that. Like I still Okay. So say your hand has Apocalypse, has Deep Dive, and has Encore in this order, right? First thing, real quick. Movie Pastor says 3 Apox, 3 Deep Dive, 3 Encore is the only way to play. Encore, then
It
Apoc, then
really
Deep
is,
Dive,
yeah.
then Encore. So, okay. So if you need a lot of Out of the Ashes to make this work. But the idea is that if you run clicklessly all 3 central servers, so now you have 4
Mhm.
clicks left, the most value you can get is you don't want to encore. I don't think you want to encore, because if you encore, your next turn, what are you doing? Because your next turn, you're going to have to spend 3 clicks just to get a singleton. Like, excuse me. I think the best thing always to do is deep dive once, and then you can see if you need to spend 2 clicks, right? Like that's a good thing about deep dive is you don't have to pay the clicks up front. You can see all 8 cards, pay a click for this, and then you can choose to spend a second click to access 2 of them. So ideally you're stealing 4 to 5 to 6 points there. Then you want to deep dive again. And basically I don't think you want to commit to I don't know what you definitely don't. Like I don't think you want to ever encore just so you can get another deep dive. Cuz you've already made the 3 runs. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
feel like I'm talking cyclically. I want to ask about these downfall cards. Do they work with Palace Cafe, the one to get bonuses? Palace Cafe is pretty okay with this as a way to like clicklessly install Euler. I don't think it's necessary that you host your thing here and run on it. I don't think you need to do it. You could also put a boomerang on here, which is kind of cute, but I don't know if you do it. You recover faster from whiff. Yeah, this gives you the safest thing, right? Because you get to decide. You could win right there before you committing to everything else. Is there a runner the
Mhm.
card that forces an RD shuffle? Yeah, Deep Dive does. Kushuk does. Deep Dive does. There's like weird stuff like there's an R&D run that forces a shuffle. Analog
Analog
Dreamers,
Dreamers.
yeah, not great because I can shuffles, but then you have to run a different server. So,
Oh, yeah.
all right, because I can. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like because I can. It's okay. I mean, Light the Fire
Yeah. Kind
pro
of dealt with this.
kinda dealt with it completely, but,
Okay. Then yeah, playing
I
two
think Light the Fire
Deepish.
might be better. No, it's hard to say. Never mind.
External says Keyhole. Keyhole technically does, but it's not in the standard format.
Mhm.
Having shuffle effects is really powerful. Okay, so we have to build a deck together. One of the biggest things we can do is draw through a deck as quick as possible. We need to have enough economy to combo out, and we need to have enough breakers to be able to get through everything. Again, 6 out of the Ashes is probably a lot. It also shows what our game plan is. There's a lot of things that we have to worry about on central servers that stop our plan. We've seen things like Kakugo, any sort of net damage or meat damage during the run is an issue. Things like Crisium Grid, Border Control, Nisi Mark II, anything that can end the run, mid-run is also an issue, but that's why you run multiple of these, so it's not too bad. CPI Red. CPI Raid is not exactly a shuffle because it just puts
No,
cards
no,
on
they're
top.
saying do CBI raid first,
Oh,
then
into
shuffle
shuffle. Yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
is a lot of effort for not much payoff.
Yeah, CPI Raid saw very little
Th
play even in the
Wait,
best case scenario. Sorry?
CBI raid is the one that stacks HQ back on top of R&D?
Yeah, the corp chooses though.
Man, oh man. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
That was a champ design card, right?
yep.
Mm, okay.
So we have deep dive. We have 3 of. We want to get through a deck quickly. We want a modicum of money. So sure gamble, playable. Creative Commission, obviously playable. We can consider VRcation too, because we don't mind overdrawing with VRcation, because a lot of times we'll just
True.
throw out of the Ashes or whatever other stuff. We'll just start at 2 for now. Again, we're going to go very single-minded for sure. Is Comet still legal? No, yeah. Haley's console left with her.
Yeah.
Other cards that we want to consider. Oh, let me just put this in standard real quick. I've seen
Yeah,
people play
I
like
saw
just
index, I was like, "Oh, well, that's just better."
moshing is like fine. It gets you through your
Mhm.
deck. It's like good enough. You're going to discard stuff. That's a lot of influence, actually. We'll see how it goes. Enough influence to Swift. Deep Dive is an event. The thing is, like, okay, Swift honestly is not worth it. Swift gives you a credit on the turn that you play a run event. As far as I understand it, Out of the Ashes, you don't even play. So it doesn't actually work unless you play Out of the Ashes for a click. So, like, you might as well throw it out. But the thing that Swift does, it gives you clicks back. Like, at this point,
Mm.
you're a lot of times better if you want to just like consistently get to the setup is by just playing Anenome and getting that sort of click compression. Like, what are you going to do with your extra click anyways? If we have 6 out of the Ashes, it's probably overkill anyways. And a Beth, like, I don't think we need to spend the influence on it. Where I'd rather have a card that like more consistently gets us to our win condition. You know,
Hey, I just realized something.
what's that?
Out of the Ashes has existed for what, 6 years, 7 years? I only just realized that it is a run event.
Yeah, yeah, you can play it.
You can play it normally. I thought it was like, why would you ever play? But like, if you have very few cards in hand, but you need to get this in the discard pile, you can play it like an event.
Yeah,
It's just not very good.
and there's like niche play getting around like what's that, the HB current that made you spend 2 clicks to
Yeah.
make a run. Like, yeah, it's possible.
Or Getting it quick with Swift.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, enhanced login protocol. Yeah, getting
Mhm.
click with Swift is a thing. Yeah, Onacom is, I think, a consideration. I don't think this deck needs a console. We need to look at our breaker suite. We generally want Oilers are pretty good. What else gets through barriers? I guess Gausses.
Mhm.
Revolvers all our influence. We also generally want a way to deal with like any sort of damage. So we talked about in the last matchup whether you want to get a Caldera and have a lot of money, whether you want to get a just a Guru Defender and spend a lot of money. A lot of these are money. Tell it is your console. What do we do in terms of so we want we want simul chips. We want something, we need to destroy something to install something with a simul chip. So what do we put on the table? Like Rozekis? Are we trying to play all three? I think we're trying to play 2 Thanos and 2 an Apocalypse. That's our hope. Oh, Pelongi. Pelongi is really cute. Yeah, Rozeki's an option. It's a bit slow, potentially.
Thanos says it makes it like, is the game plan to do all the deep dives at once, do you think?
Uh, so like you do a deep dive and you decide how heavily you want to invest into it. So saying that we have 4
Mhm,
to 5 clicks because of Beth, right? Like we hopefully run for free, not for free,
mhm,
but clicklessly for free. We deep dive once, see how it goes. Deep dive again, see how it goes, and then Apocalypse. So we'll probably play 2 on average.
hmm. PPVP is back. Yeah, that could be a lot of econ considering we've got 24 events, most of which cost money.
I don't know if actually most of them
Not
cost money.
not even maybe not even most, yeah.
And a lot of them we want to
Hmm,
play on the same turn anyway. So prepaid's like generally not better
yeah,
than
true.
Rozeki. What else do we want
Do we
that's
need
like really
do we need
good?
any, like, tricksy ways of getting past ice that don't resolve on
It's
breakers
really
just in
hard because
case?
of clicks, right? Like Pelongi's the best we got.
Yeah.
Pastor says, what about Magnum Opus? Magnum Opus isn't the standard format. It's rotated out a long time ago. Mayfire Eater is generally just not worth the effort, considering that like Euler, Gauss, and Revolver are quite good, and we can like pre-install Revolver. We're not upset about pre-installing Gauss. Depends on the matchup. We could consider Peace in Our Time, which is quite good, just because it gives us Beth clicks, but also gives us some money
Mm,
immediately, and we don't want to run that often. Like this is definitely playable. I feel like we do want a way to deal with damage. Botulus is it's not worth it considering our breakers are actually really quite good. How do we deal with damage? Do we play just a single Guru? Is Guru better or worse than? I guess Guru means we can't steal Obokata, so let's just do Caldera. Is this 40 cards? What are we missing? Is it ever better to like another good thing to consider doing is like dropping Revolver, playing like an Ika, and then just playing a Paperclip? Because Paperclip we can install from bin, which is kind of what we want.
hmm. But do we have, um hmm.
Because we could play Paperclip instead of Revolver. Caldera can't steal Obo though? No, you can, because Caldera is a choice. You just don't
You
prevent
can
it.
yeah, you
You
can
don't.
choose not to.
Yeah.
Whereas a Guru Devinder forces you to prevent
Yes.
if you have the
Yeah,
money.
Guru's not a choice.
And
And well, if you don't
oh,
Guru
no, yeah,
forces
it
you,
doesn't matter, you
yeah,
have money.
and you pay to keep him around. You can DJ for Steve if you want some protection against damage. I'm hoping Caldera will just do it. The issue is I don't think we have enough money. Uh what does this draw like? Like I feel like there's something obvious that we're missing that helps for these sort of decks. Like this is great, right? Like you Peace in Our Time. We
Diesel.
probably Diesel, yeah. I don't think we have the moshing right away. Get the meth down. So we're gonna have
Oh, yeah.
5 clicks. From here, we create a commission last click. The next turn, we probably moshing, throw these away. Yeah, I think actually the revolver will go less far than a paperclip.
Mm.
I don't know if we need SMC.
Yeah, if we're using if we're using something like moshing, then that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Starts with R and
Do
ends
we
with
want
Ezeki. I don't know. Maybe we're fast enough that we don't need that. I don't think we need the encore.
do we want a second Beth? Like, how important is Beth to what we're doing that maybe we want
It's
more
pretty good.
consistency in
Yeah, I
rather
think you're
than
right. I think you're right. It's probably good. Why Orbless? I don't think it's a good reason for us to be Orbless. We're at 41 cards though.
I think because we're both corn intolerant, and until the April Fool's joke is over, we just aren't able to do it.
What do we do after? Do
I'm
we
kidding.
play
I love
a
corn.
conduit or an evocation just so we have a bigger game after an apocalypse? Like
Hmm.
do we play what's it called? What's that one
I
that
mean,
lets you what's the mini Aesop's card? Spec work, right?
oh yeah, one spec work to get something back into the trash. Uh, to get like the paperclip back in the trash or something. I mean, how reliant are we on apocalypse? What happens after the apocalypse is a good question.
What do we rely after Apocalypse? I don't know. Yeah, that's how I think we might want one of card to deal with that. You don't know?
Also, we can drop
Yeah.
half those out of the ashes, right? Or maybe
No.
at least 2 of them.
No,
Oh,
no.
you
We
want
play
all of
all of
them?
them. Yeah.
Okay, alright, sorry. I didn't realize we changed our
No,
mind. Well,
okay,
I'm not
okay.
up to
Because
date.
right now, chat is asking about the moshing. I think the moshing is fantastic because it does everything this deck
Mhm.
wants to do. If you're wondering what you trash anything, right? Like you have 6 out of the ashes you want to trash. You want to trash your Oilers. You want to trash your Paperclip. You kind of want to trash your Ika. The only things that you don't
Mhm.
want to trash, you want to trash your second Simulchip. You'll trash your second Beth. Like a lot of things in this deck, right? Why not MK? It's influence. You could consider it, but like there's a lot of trash targets. Like you just have to like you're not playing a value shaper. You just have to be like, okay, I have moshing, play moshing. Like 3 cards and 3 credits for a single click is immense.
Mm.
Right? Okay, we diesel here. We have peace for next time. So here we can do like, I don't know, Beth. We would draw one. We want to discard. We draw one. We get our Anacom down. Yeah. You need programs on the board to use Summon Chip though. Yeah, that's ideally the one with Pelongi to Rizekis. You also can do fun stuff where like you use the paperclip, or sorry, you
Yeah.
install the paperclip, trash the paperclip. Like you could get lucky there, but that's why we have
Well,
some amount of programs.
I think what Solomon's referring to is the apocalypse post-apocalypse turn.
Oh, then we're yeah, we need something like a conduit. Like we need or equivocation. We need a way to close the game. Bless you.
Yeah, because you can't simulchip if all the programs are suddenly typeless, face down cards.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. No, for sure. But
Sorry.
hopefully that we've won the game already, right?
Mhm.
What do we cut to go down to 40? Do we need to go down to 40? We obviously should. We're a combo deck. What happens if your opponent plays Ozef Protocol? Frank, can we win if it snipes APOC? Yeah, hopefully. Like, hopefully we win off the deep dives, but like, we're gonna be fragile. Like, there's nothing to rep about it. Like, that's why if we want to play Guru Devinder, we can play Guru Devinder if that's like an issue for us. We're also gonna like lose straight up to like hot tech, like Salem's Hospitality will ruin us, our Clockdown will ruin us, but like, we're not trying to make something flexible here. We're trying to be very like if you know, if all you have is a hammer. There's not a clot that meat from Azev is going to lead to your worries. Yeah, that's also true. You could play clot in this list. Drop a moshing, play clot, get a bit more flexibility. We got to drop one card, Pat. What are you thinking?
Let me see. How useful are those simulchips?
Very, because we clicklessly install our breakers.
Yeah.
I think the conduit's bad, right? Like after Apocalypse, they'll just ice R&D. Won't they?
And maybe what we want is like event pressure, not program pressure.
Which would be?
I don't know, but
Like the issue is if we
makers
get our
jailbreak.
breakers stuck down, like they're stuck down.
Hmm.
Like, do we just drop a Beth for a pawn shop?
Yeah,
So that we have
and
a game?
we only play pawn shop after
Yeah, yeah,
apocalypse.
yeah.
That seems okay.
Independent
Independent thinking
thinking.
obviously is the way to go.
Honestly, not the worst. You have 0 way to get your clip back after APOC? Yeah, so I think we might need a single Aesops or even like a, what's it called? Not a cold read, but a spec work or something.
Mhm.
I'm just hoping that we win before we have to APOC. But like, I don't mind APOCing. Yeah, we'll keep it Aesops. Let's call this a thing. And then maybe we'll have a conduit. Yeah, if we have one, we should have the other. Uh, Seems okay. Seems okay.
I mean, yeah, let's do it. Let's
Spec
do
work
it.
as opposed to ACOP Nombo? Why? Because spec work say trash a program? Oh, install program. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, I did. I thought it was just trash a card. We just got one card. Let's go. This is probably better than my deck's first draft. What did you come up with? All right. So there's a lot of hate that can play against this deck. So like maybe we're walking into all of this by doing this like, you know, live, but it'll work. Cut one card, please. Not lat. Lat actually is not a worst idea. You have to play a couple more cards, but you have the flexibility. We're playing Tau Salonga. Oh, Tau is not an
Or the
A.
catalyst. You know, we've seen so from June's article about Midnight Sun, we've seen 2 of her bullet points crossed off,
Sure.
interestingly enough. We know we're getting an icebreaker with a weapon subtype,
Yeah.
and we know we're getting 1 quest card. And we've now seen both of those.
There's more. What are the other bullets though?
We're getting 2 neutral IDs.
Oh,
We're
right.
getting a 6 per deck card. We're getting cybernetics back. we're getting like a bunch of 2-1s.
Yeah, yeah, right. I forgot. There's a lot of
Mhm.
2-1s potentially. Their second draft sometimes. Not on this channel.
In
The
writing and in deck building, I'm a pantser. Just constantly seat in my pants. No,
so
no time for drafting.
so many just the bullets are in the revolver. Duh. Yeah, it's a shame we cut revolver from this deck, but we just want to go off as soon as possible because the sooner you go
Like a
off,
revolver. Yeah,
yeah, the more agendas there are in R&D or something.
that's the common expression.
Uh, we played like 1 2 minute games where we've installed a revolver and not used it. Oh,
That's so sad.
hockey symbol's really good. Does JNet allow transparency? Kind of looks like it does.
Hmm.
All right, chess boxer. We're off. We're looking for not for damage. NBN CTM. Possible. We have some things to watch out for. We have to watch out for specifically the lady who bounces things back to hand. I never remember her name when I need to.
It's not Arella. It's the one from Kampala. I can't remember her name. Well,
And they're off. We have a pretty good start. Mixing up central,
mhm.
server 1. We're gonna just ignore the board, right?
Yes.
So
So we're dieseling.
yeah, we want to diesel into hedge fund. Amani Sanai,
What do we
thank you. MCA will be fine because we have enough clicks.
okay. Well, there we go. There's half the game plan right there.
Yeah, honestly, like we're pretty close.
Amani Sanaya.
So
Uh,
if we do Anacom, we'll try and do Anacom Verification next turn. Actually, I think we want to just do Anacom into Creative Commission this turn. Oh no, we've played an
Onicom.
event.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Okay. So in that case, Rizeki. So like credit Rizeki and creative.
yeah, I feel bad crediting, but I think so.
Mhm.
Yeah, while this Rozeki might not be amazing, we just need something on the table. This will help us with the Amani traces, but also we need something on the table to simul chip. There's a chance actually we start with like Anacom into Verification for 2 clicks draw 5. Maryland's actually one of the like the less intimidating things they could have had on the table turn 1.
Oh, they look so cute with their hats.
Oh, they all have hats.
Yeah, look at that.
Who did all of this hat
It
hat work?
sorry, is the child she's carrying, is he wearing, like, Joker makeup?
No, he just
Is
has
that how
rosy
he's supposed to look?
cheeks. Kids just have rosy
Mm,
cheeks.
and the kids do not have rosy cheeks. No child I've met has ever had rosy cheeks.
Okay, we are off to a race. We could Creative Commission here. We can install a simul chip. We're gonna discard 1 card. Uh,
Yeah, that's just the way the kid looks. Sorry, kid.
okay.
You got Jokified.
So we'll discard the Out of the Ashes. Next turn, I don't think we're gonna need the Verification. We're gonna hopefully moshing. We still have 3 diesels. That's our last Verification. But yeah, what do we actually discard with this moshing? We should have discarded this moshing. Hold on. Yeah, those are great hats, Semicolon. How's it going? 3 clicks, draw 5. No. Wait, why? Don't forget the loss. Oh, you're assuming the Anacom install? Because yeah, it is obviously this is gonna be 2 clicks, draw 5, which is still
Only
fine.
alcoholic kids have rosy cheeks. I mean, who knows what she's feeding these kids?
This is what we
Spoonful of
want to
sugar? I don't
see.
think so. Oh, yeah, look at that.
We're nearly set up, right? Like we just need to find the paperclip.
Yep,
We could always put
we've got a lot of stuff
SMC.
here.
We have 1 click left. That's fine. I do not reckon we're gonna need our next trigger. Oh no, we want to throw out the oiler for sure. You started 2 clicks, draw 5 early, Anacom plus VR. Oh yeah, sure, but we're gonna install the Anacom always.
Mhm.
The issue is we need enough money for Bologna. So actually the Shogun does matter because we need to steal more than 1 Bologna. They might want to just keep cards in HQ, which is the right thing to do a lot of times. Triple advance. It's Tau Salonga. Ooh, we took a tag. Nothing to punish us here.
Hmm.
Swap ice.
Hmm.
So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. We'll just mix that up. We might be floating tags. Luckily, if we're doing deep dives, we don't have to access anything that really punishes a tag too hard. Like we don't have to access Quantum Kitty.
Is Tao wearing a hat? I need to know.
No, Tau's no hat.
Ah, dang.
Okay, so in theory, we could consider running here. Like we could have done a free run. We have 2 free runs. Let's try and get 3. We need to get our paperclip into the bin. This is click for draw 4. Do we clear the tag? I don't honestly know. Yeah, we probably should.
There are probably enough good reasons to clear that tag.
I'm gonna keep drawing here. Beth will be better later. Clearing tag lets you beat IP block. That's actually a really big point. So remove the tag. We're gonna play this next turn. So we'll play the Beth. And turn. Get the Oiler down. Get the Rozeki out. Get this out. So we, in theory, if they only have like IP block on centrals and decoders, we could actually go off this turn. Do we attempt it? Like this is turn 4 for us. No, sorry, that's not true. Turn 5?
I would have, if we could rewind. Can we ask them if we can undo about 3 turns?
Why?
When they scored an agenda, I think we should have swapped a HQ with server 3.
But server 3 is going to be like their end the run, right? Like their central ice is generally just the taxing stuff, not the end the run stuff.
But I think they're more likely to spread out ice subtypes on centrals once they've seen Out of the Ashes, right?
But it was like opening
Like,
hand.
oh, okay, well, I've got to put gear. Yeah, maybe.
So I don't know. Like I think if it was an opening hand, if it was like one card one turn, one card the other turn after Spin Doctor, maybe. Beth will get us what credit? Now they have an MCA, but that's totally fine, right? Like we still have potentially a lot of clicks. I think we can spend a turn off here to piece. The problem though is that it slows down our setup. So we'll piece here. We drew it Out of the Ashes, so we can draw once. We'll probably not need 2 simul chips. We can draw once again. Okay, that's perfect.
Oh wow, that's great.
So we're gonna try next turn.
That's a good draw.
Oh, there is an Amani Sanai. Wait, are they gonna score from hand? We have 20 credits. Why do they res this?
Yeah, that's a weird res. We can beat it.
Are they gonna score 15 minutes out? What is this? Install, draw. Okay. So I think we're gonna go off here. Rozeki, Beth is not gonna give us. Oh, they don't have enough clicks. Remove Out of the Ashes. Yeah, we'll run HQ. We're hoping not for an end the run barrier. So ping is annoying, wraparound is annoying. Any code gates we can get through, any sentries we can get through. Turnpike is fine.
Turnpike is okay.
We do want to beat the trace though. You have to deal with Amani if you steal agendas with dive. That's why we can Apocalypse first. We have no link. See, this is the sort of thing I think they put on centrals more often than not. You don't put this on the remote a lot of times. It's a Bologna, pay 5 to steal. That'll leave us with 10 credits. We need 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for all this. I don't think we steal it.
Really?
Yeah, it'll just be in hand next turn. They're going to have no ice.
I suppose so. Yeah.
We also could hedge fund though. Actually, no, we probably should have done that because we could have hedge fund for credit before like apocing. So we probably should have stole it. Okay, it's a trace. 4. Yeah, where's it going if your apoc is the biggest thing? The fact that we have the clicks, so they're boosting it, so we'll do trace 5.
Yeah, if they're paying into it, then that's fine for us.
It's a sandbox. We'll steal that. Now money doesn't matter. If it returns something to hand, it actually helps us. No. Like, she didn't actually matter. We also have 4 clicks. You're right. They did austerity last turn. We won't boost anything. I think if they return anything, we're happy.
That's true. That's kind of funny.
So we know 1 Bologna is in hand. So now they have to give us our less good card because we're going to wipe the board. Ideally, we would just deep dive win. We need to hit a Bologna and then another agenda. We'll run archives. No. Okay, so we'll start with the deep dive. So we see 8 cards. Macrophage, Rashida, IP, exchange. No. Oh, Bologna. Oh, we should have hedge fund first. Oh, sure gambled first. Oh, that's a bit of a tax.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It was a mistake, but
yeah, we definitely should have done that first. Yikes. That's going to be a problem because the second Bologna is safe. They do have 2 pointers though. We're very likely to get one.
They just shuffled.
Yes, they have to shuffle.
Yeah, so why don't we
it's a huge blunder.
Why don't we just deep dive again? Spend it.
Oh, we will, but now the problem is that we can't afford to deep dive and Apocalypse. You see what we've done?
We're on 5 points.
Oh yeah, no, we're hoping we're going to win.
So deep dive.
But the thing is, if this fails, we lose. But hey, that'll do it. There's another Bologna there. But this is so cheesy. I don't like this.
Well, it's too bad. This is what you built.
right? Like that is the fact that like a big
Mhm.
part of this is obviously that Out of the Ashes is not going to be in the set while Deep Dive is around, but like, dude, bro, but like that is like super 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 silly. Hey, thanks for the game.
Yeah.
So obviously we bungled that heavily. Like we had a click to Sure Gamble, we had another
Mhm.
click to Apocalypse, so we did that properly. There was another Bologna there. We had money to steal the Bologna in HQ. I think we had money to do everything if we just spent 2 clicks Sure Gambling after. I'm maybe they could have made it awkward on the resistor.
I don't think we ever saw the paperclip,
No, no, no. The paper
right?
has been the 14 cards. We're lucky we didn't need it. It was at the bottom. We probably want to play an SMC. You could also play. What else could you play to pull this from the deck? Compile doesn't work.
Test run. I don't know how.
Can the
Yeah,
corpse spin
it's not
doctor
that.
between the deep dives? Elwin, it doesn't matter because deep dive when it finishes, it shuffles the deck. So yeah, they could. They technically could do it before you deep dive to just add more non-agendas into
Yeah,
the deck,
you can dilute the deck or something.
but they had nothing to spin doctor. Scrub says I haven't seen this NBN in a long time. Oh, CTM is still incredibly powerful. I think this CTM deck did it win? I think it actually just won BComs as well with a like a this actually looks like the deck that won BComs if I'm not mistaken. This deck is an Aryabhata deck that has a lot of trace ice and Aryabhata is on the table. If I'm not mistaken, that's actually Yakuza's winning list. I just want to check because if you see Resistor, you know something's up. Yeah, yeah, this is the deck that we're playing against. So this is actually a very, very mean deck. So it's 3 Bologna, sandbox, 15 minutes. Yeah, this is it. Egg Infusion is really tough, but against Acid Spam, they can't make you care about their board. Yeah, exactly. Like we don't want to deal, we don't want to trash, we don't want to deal with Aryabhatas, we can't afford to do everything. Just wipe everything at once. Their tag punishment was just psychographics, predictive planogram, IP block. That's it. This deck looks really soft to deep dive spam. That deck probably is really soft to deep dive spam. And there's a lot of lists that I think are very soft to it. Like you need tech to
Yeah,
deal with deep
and yet
dive.
I don't really think it's that tough to fend off. Like
It
Crisium
is,
Grid isn't uncommon.
but like you can deal
Sh-
with Crisium Grid.
Yeah,
Like we have 6 out
yeah.
of the ashes, right? And like we're running super cheaply.
Hmm.
Like all those runs, we didn't play the deep dive. Like sorry, we didn't pay the credit for out of the ashes. We had to trace resistor. We could have let the other one fire.
Hmm.
It's like Dirtle Acid should be punishable. Yeah. Oh, Boxer's back. All right. Trying to play Ag Infusion, right?
Oh, was this our last opponent, or is
Yeah.
this our first
No,
opponent?
no.
Okay,
Our last opponent.
all right. Let's see how deep dive work. I mean, we don't care.
No, because
Saraswati,
they can score on Nisei tokens. They can do a lot more to deal with us. They'll
yeah.
have meaner ice as well that we can't just face check into without our Ika. So I think this is a good enough hand. We also have to deal with Anenome and Kakugo, so we do need to find our Caldera before we will like definitely combo out. Pat Ian asks, how's the Ryan North book?
Oh, I mean, I haven't gotten very far through it, but uh, so obviously I have his previous book, the one about time travel. Say you've gone back in time. I have it as a poster actually in my kitchen. Um, and I love the information in it. I think it's really cool. That is information I've always like dreamed about having, and I've dreamed about going back in time and using that. Um, his voice, his writing voice, is sometimes difficult to enjoy in large doses. He's a very small doses writer for me, and I think that holds him back from being someone I really love to read. But it is a lot like the time travel book. It has that kind of information in it. Um, yeah, like I said, I'm not too far into it. Maybe I'll have a better review next month.
What's the book about?
Uh, it is about. It's kind of like. Let me see. Let me see if there's a better explanation somewhere around here. Yeah, so it's kind of like a list of ideas and techniques to help you control the world. And basically, like he goes over like how do you create an EMP device to destroy communication, or how do you control the weather or trigger volcanic eruption. That like supervillain stuff. He goes over in this book. How do you accomplish this using the tools you might have available to you, or things that could theoretically be in the world today. His time travel book. Say you've gone back in time is about how can you take the credit for all these different scientific advancements depending on where you land in time. Like it's very easy to come up with a theory, but you
To
like
practically
you
do
can create
something.
actively do something is kind
Yeah.
of like you can theoretically create radio a lot earlier than radio actually emerged, but not necessarily in like ancient Greece, maybe ancient Rome, right? Uh, like you like some of these technologies exist. Like invent you can invent penicillin or vaccines way earlier, and so that book is all about, hey, here's the basics of how to create penicillin if you are in a pinch and you have syphilis. um, which I guess is also the plot to Outlander, but with there's less sex in the time travel book.
Singer says you were broke there the entire game, the cheapest ice in the game, but I think that basically ideal matchup. That seems like a really good matchup, yeah. I do
Mhm.
not remember what this deck is. It looked like we played against something similar last week. I don't know. Traps obviously kind of put this on its head, and we have to worry about spiky ice. But last turn it really looked like an NGO front, so I ran it. This is like I don't know. Do we care if we lose our hand? Like we care if we lose a deep dive. We played the card that we need. Out of the ashes, you can run anywhere. You can actually check these servers.
Yeah, Cormac like Squirrel Girl. I think Squirrel Girl is really fun, really funny, but I think he pretty much only writes one character, and every other person in these books is just a shade of the same character, the same voice, the same what manner of speaking. I think his dinosaur comics is one of the things that helped me kind of formulate my own philosophy of art. So he is an important writer to me. Um, but
Ah,
I just
shit.
can't deal with
The
his
other one
manner of
was
speaking.
Jumon. Fuck. I knew I should have
Oh
ran both of
no,
them. There's no way to put two snares on the
Mm,
table.
that's funny, Jumon.
Okay. Well, in theory, we could combo out here.
Yeah, no, it's a fun character, but again, small doses, small doses.
Do we? If we had Apocalypse, we could have considered doing it. I should have ran both. There's no way they put two traps on the table. Damn, I feel bad about that. Yeah, this is the Jumon deck from the deck list of the week last week. So here we could go up and deep dive. The deck has Jumons. The deck has. I think we will just go off now. They can't fire snare. They can't res an enemy. They can res Aiki. But if we go off now, like we want another deep dive in our hand, ideally.
And mm, yeah, I guess if you want to like end the game in one turn,
Okay, I'm gonna.
and I guess it is what we want to do. I don't
Did
know.
we install Caldera? We need a tag. No. I'm going to. I'm getting rid of the Caldera. I'm going in. I'm installing the Anenome and moshing through our deck. Conduit's interesting. Shit, we definitely don't want to give them money. Like that's the bad thing they have. How do they score so
Mhm.
fast? Double seamless. That's kind of this
Yeah.
the deck plan here. And now everything is a super scary trap. 4 credits now
Hmm.
they can start resing stuff. 4 credits, huh? Easily could be an NGO front, and now they just like snowball out of control. We needed to draw into our Apocalypse or a second deep dive. We've only seen one deep dive so far. We haven't lost any to damage, so that's been a bit upsetting. If we piece, we give them money. That's what we want them not to have. I hope they actually score out an agenda. If it's an NGO front, it's pretty disastrous for us.
Is
So,
Jumon end of turn or beginning of turn? I can't
beginner
remember.
end of turn. Sorry.
When your turn ends, yeah.
Yes,
Um,
we need this down for simul chip, and then we will create a which draws a card.
yeah.
All right.
That was a great draw. I'll say this for Rhinor's Squirrel Girl. What I mean, I do like in general, but one thing I thought was great was I think it's in that book that he introduces her Asgardian nemesis, which is a real Norse character named Ratatoskr, the evil rat that climb or like I think
Rentosker's
it's
a
the evil
squirrel,
squirrel.
no? Yeah.
Ratatoskr, the evil squirrel that climbs the world tree. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, of course, that would be a character in a Squirrel Girl comic.
Okay. So they've jammed behind ice. We could force hopefully a res here. If they res a Kakugo, we're fine with it. I think we might out of the ashes just to check server 6. Now I think server 5 easily could be an NGO front, so they actually could announce us. It's an Aiki.
There's the Yankee.
Do we have? I think we have no breakers. Oh, we had an oil in hand. No, we should have thrown out the oiler, not the out of the ashes. Oh, that is a huge
Well,
mistake
now they will be in discard pile.
potentially. But yeah, no, we definitely
I
shouldn't have thrown out the out of ashes. We should have thrown out the oiler there. We already had enough.
yeah, I also did like the Hamlet, his Hamlet, but again, like that was when I was first frustrated by his voice because I thought it was so kind of annoying. I would have loved a choose your own adventure in iambic pentameter. I know that I'm a nerd for saying so. But I thought it was brilliant that instead of a play within a play, he did a choose your own adventure within a choose your own adventure. That was a very fun thing.
We're going in. They have snare money. I feel like we're tilting a bit, Pat. Oh, it's an enemy.
Uh,
Okay.
mm,
That's going to do 3 damage. No way about it. Oh, actually, no, we could break this. They're down on 1 credit. I think we break this so that we can actually Apocalypse Deep Dive. We will, yeah, no, we're fine here. It's a sentry, right? Yeah.
I don't know if I'm the Shakespeare scholar that has to. I mean, I guess I could.
Okay, we just need a, oh, no, stop. I'm not sure if I overpaid or underpaid for that. I wanted to break that. Okay, we have a chance of surviving. Oh no, I have to actually pay that. There's some really
Now I'm going
PhD
to.
thesis on NRB for Seamus launch. It's a good card.
Mhm.
It's an Odoroshi, right? Odoroshi's actually a reason to
Todoroki.
trash snare. I forgot about that.
Mm.
Remove out of the ashes. Okay, so Aiki again is the only issue, but we could always draw during the run because they can't pay 2. That we hope we buried here. We are who we've been waiting for. There's the Aiki. Okay, so we have to get a bit lucky here. We draw first though, and of course we
Mhm.
want to keep these 2. We have 2 more out of the 2 more deep dives within 8 cards though. Oh, we missed both of them. Man, we definitely should have got the Silent Chip, but then we couldn't deal with an enemy. Please survive. Please survive. Shit. Okay. Less likely to win now. A Ronin, this actually
Hmm.
lets us see deeper as well. We can also draw into a deep dive here. We have 2 and 6. And we have 4 clicks. So we can deep dive, draw, deep dive, and still win. Obokata is going to be an issue though. Oh, is this sandbox in there? Whoa, that changes everything.
That changes everything.
And now we can also
This
swap
is
the ice because we can also just run back on R&D.
yeah. This is now on the table.
And we can run back on R&D here.
It's funny.
I think 2
Um,
were the corpus on 0. Oh, I thought they were on 1. Yeah, you're totally right. We overpaid there by a mile. I forgot that they spent money to res the IKEA. I just remember that they didn't have enough money. It's a hedge fund. Okay. Okay.
okay, but
Deep
deep
dive.
dive. We've got 2 clicks.
Sandbox Jumon, we win.
Kumon. There we go. There we go.
What is this deck? Like, we played like we played terribly.
That was a miserable.
We absolutely just slobbered through this.
Every now and then, I took off my Squirrel Girl blinders and looked over here and saw you playing terribly,
Just
and then I went back
mashing.
to Squirrel Girl, and you still win.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
he
wild.
like Chessboxer scored a Jumon like turn 2, and still couldn't turn that into a win fast enough, which is tragic.
Yeah, but you need turns, right? They only had 12 credits. Like they played 0 economy cards, besides an NGO front, which is obviously going to slow them down. Seamless is kind of an economy card. Girl's key to victory. It sounds like Deep Dive is a very
Um,
good card. But the value of Deep Dive absolutely plummets. It craters once you move out of the ashes, right? Like playing fair out of Deep Dive is such a different thing. It's like a run or win con that's not about economy. And so what else do we have? Like we had to potentially, if we only saw one agenda, we had 3 clicks left. So we could potentially run our DC a new card. We also could draw. We would not hit a deep dive. They were the bottom 2 cards of our deck. But we played that really messy and you still can just get enough accesses, which is totally wild. Oh my God.
okay, my idea is to write one of those Goosebump style horror choose your own adventures, just about side characters from Hamlet. So basically, every other page ends with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Think that'd be kind of funny for Tim Roth. Tim Roth would like it.
Solomir says, would it have been safer to draw before the deep dive? Yeah, if we're playing around Obokata, yes, we should have drawn. But I actually don't think this list
Mhm.
runs Obokata. If I'm not mistaken, this list might not run Obokata. It's been a while since we've seen it. Why is this deck running a Cyberdex? It's just an economy card. I think they just need
Yeah, because
economy.
it has sandbox, and
Yeah.
I think did we see macrophage in this one?
Yeah, I think we did see it
Yeah.
potentially. I disagree, Andre. I've been playing 1x Beth, 1 out of the Ash, and 2 deep dives, still doing nicely.
But are you doing this nicely?
Oh yeah, but Yasengrin, you're just like you're doing like an honest shaper deck, right? Like you're not one dimensional like we are. Which I agree about that. But like this sort of archetype where it's just like smash into the deep dive, I don't think that deck does that, or am I wrong?
Squirrel Girl isn't her own champion yet in that game, right? She's an ally
In Marvel?
in Marvel
I
Champions.
think they've announced that she's coming. Or it's
That
leaked or
would that
something.
would make sense. It would be wild if she never
Yeah.
appeared.
Actually,
And
no, I
I'm
think she's
I'm
just a
glad
thing.
I'm glad I gave away my copy of Marvel Champions because I just wasn't as enthused about it as I was with Arkham.
Yeah.
But I do still follow the releases, and like it does interest me as a game to like keep up with and see what interesting things they're doing with it.
Yes. It's
Um,
always exciting to see like the Spider Ham April Fools is really good and fun.
and it's not even April Fools. It's a real deck.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Well, it's like
Yeah,
Barkham, right? Like where they made it a real
yeah.
thing, but they made it immediately a real thing, which I think they learned. Correct. Oh, still an ally, and she's not coming. Oh, excuse me. Spider-Ham is very real. I've
Yeah.
started to play and I've actually started to collect in a minor term Lord of the Rings LCG because Maddie and I have been really enjoying it. But it's
It,
like
it is decent.
it's
Yeah.
a game that's been out forever, so it's so hard to get, but it also has like this really arcane distribution model where it's just like
Mhm.
never just like Arkham where there's like a deluxe expansion and then 6 packs underneath that to make a nice neat cycle. But then there's saga
Mhm.
boxes which are standalones and there's standalone scenarios and there's just so much content. And right now I'm like scouring websites to try and find, and it's such a nightmare, especially because all this has to be shipped from America if you're getting it. Where it's like, okay, this website has this plus 4 packs or 5 of the packs, but they're missing an individual pack. And then there are some stores that did like this one pack from like 2014, unsurprisingly, just no one has because probably was very good. And so people bought it heavily, like a Jackson Howard pack. But like, I don't know what to do.
How deep in are you with purchases? Because I have a small collection.
Get out.
Maybe I could just give it to you.
I'd be very
'Cause I
excited
I
about
I
that.
I never bring it to the table, and I'll probably fill in some gaps, and there'll be overlaps, but, like,
Yeah, that'd be dope. How
I'd
deep
be
are
happy
we?
to.
So
Yeah.
we picked up what we actually did is we picked up the revised core set, which has been good because it's a full play set. Then since then we've
Mhm.
ordered all the starter decks, which is another thing that FFG did, which is a huge right direction, just like they did with Arkham for new players. But those have
For
been
sure, yeah.
stuck in the border, and so Canada just doesn't have them, and they haven't for like a month so far. Since then, I went to Vallée de Coeur and they had like a bunch, like literally a sealed plastic box, like dusty as heck from
Yeah.
2013 Gen Con. Like they had the Gen Con sets from like, you know, almost a decade old sitting on the shelf that aren't on their website because nobody like
Mm.
it's not in inventory that like I think online sell for a lot of money, but like we picked all those up. The issue right now though is because we've only been picking up like Gen Con and standalone scenarios and we haven't got the testing decks or the starter decks yet. We don't have player cards. So like we're struggling to build decks to beat the harder things, but we've picked up just a bunch of things so far. And I picked up a bunch of sagas that are in the mail so far.
We talk
Yes.
about the LCG because we love the LCG. I haven't played the board game. Have you played the board game of Arkham Horror?
I played Mansion of Madness. I haven't played the actual any of the other. Oh no, I did play like the third edition Arkham Horror board game. Eric showed me
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I've played Mansions of Madness, maybe one other Arkham game, but no, but, like, the LCG is what we talk about when we talk about Arkham Horror.
Yes. I actually we picked up picked up Mansions of Madness just last weekend, and we've been really enjoying it. We're playing it tomorrow with her brother. It's really slick.
Yeah,
Um,
so in a kind of, interesting mirroring of how I got into Netrunner, my friend Corrado got his Arkham Horror LCG box because he thought he played Arkham Horror, the board game,
oh no
told
way.
someone about that, and then someone bought him the LCG starter box, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know what this is." And then I finally showed him and his girlfriend a few months ago, and they loved it. So like, oh well, okay, that's two new fans of the game who got into it accidentally.
Yeah, Ian, they are re-releasing Lord of the Rings LCG, but it's happening really slowly, and they're doing the good release model where it's like there's 2 boxes for all the content. But they haven't announced which sets or which cycles they're re-releasing. They just said this is the next one coming out, and it's coming out I think in July. So like
Yeah,
there's
and the
still
one
an
they're re-releasing
incentive.
is the one from like 2017 or
Yeah,
something.
it's not even the oldest, and it's not. Some
Yeah.
people don't even think it's the best one. Like the first one they would have re-released. This is going to be a nightmare matchup. This is probably a decklist of the week. Local FLGS had 2 cycles that I have. Damn, Schmendrix, well done. This game's gonna be who can get their combo first. We'll never run the remote server, so their combo doesn't matter. We have some issues here. Oh, this is a hand that we should have. Yeah, now we can do this, which is great.
Oh yeah, that's good.
So the issue is that they're playing Ag Infusion, so any run they can boop us. I'm gonna keep
Mhm.
drawing. Caldera is gonna matter, but we want to keep 5 credits. Well, just so that we can at least play a sure gamble if we top deck it. My partner does enjoy deck building, and with the same issue rise in Arkham Horror LCG. Okay, so sort of. You don't need a
Yeah, a
deck
little bit.
build. In Arkham Horror, you do need to upgrade your deck, which I know my partners are not really into it. So she just says, like, what do you think I should do? And we like talk it through together. But there's so many resources online in Arkham that you can just net deck without an issue. Like just search an investigator you like, there'll be a whole write-up. So you're not required to do it, but there's obviously a lot of deck building involved. There's also starter decks that are monocolor. They're very powerful and very focused, but they're actually not bad monocolor. So there's like pick up and play stuff that works pretty well.
Yeah, actually, when I was teaching this game to friends, I basically built the decks for them, and then I provided like a small curated section of upgrade cards that they could like look through. They don't have to go through the whole collection. They don't have to net deck. It's just, oh, here's like 10 different cards. I can afford 8 of these. Which ones do I want in my deck, and so on. But it does require some deck building, but you can take on some of the deck building for your partner in the game.
This got ugly. I shouldn't have dieseled last click for 4 cards. We probably should have dieseled last click, whatever. Are we going to need all the deep
Well,
dives? I can't tell if I clicked this diesel or not. Apparently I didn't. Stoppable says, I'll never run the remote server. He says about a deck that can force you into the remote. It sort of can, but they have to pre-res the stuff. So I guess they can? Kind of? Yeah, Solomir, we have to see if they do it on R&D. Because they could. They could easily set up their whole combo on R&D and then we have a problem. So we want to try and go as fast as possible.
I feel like if you're looking for cooperative deck building, like Marvel Champions certainly is simpler than Arkham when it comes to deck building.
Sorry, you said Arkham Horror is simpler than Lord of the Rings?
Sorry, I meant to. I was talking with Scrub, saying sorry. I meant to say Marvel Champions deck building is way simpler than Arkham, way less
Yes.
involved. So that's something. And like whenever you buy it is a fully built deck already, so you don't have to think too much about it. It's not going to be a great deck, but it comes fully built.
Yeah. Does Marvel Champions have deck building? Yeah, Valently. It totally does. You have to pick your hero. It comes with certain cards, and then you generally choose, I think, like a sphere. I guess that's not the term, but like you choose one of the aspects. Yeah, and then you're allowed access to the neutral cards and that stuff. And yeah, you definitely want to build into the scenarios. So you play them once and see like, oh, it'd be good if I could deal with a lot of small minions, or I need to thwart more stuff like that.
But like I was saying,
I think it's less
if
dependent.
you buy. Yeah, it's less dependent. It's less complex. It's less complicated than Arkham for sure. If you buy a pack, like let's say you buy the Captain America deck, pack, like he comes with a fully built deck, and a few extra cards you take out that just add good to your collection. But you don't have to deck build Captain America. You buy the Captain America deck. And if you
Yes.
want to deck build, you can move things around as much as you want. But it's very straightforward.
Yeah. The fact that you can buy a product and just put it on the table, it's great.
Yep.
I thought it was like Sentinels, the multiverse, where you don't change the decks. No, you have full control. Yeah, you have full control. But if you buy a deck, it's playable immediately, if I'm not mistaken. I think maybe, do you have to swap in like those like resource cards, or they come with extra ones?
No, a lot of the packs you buy have extras of those cards.
Okay, they're like the
So like
very
your collection
generic sure gamble type
yeah,
cards.
exactly. Your collection will end up with like 10 of the sure gamble type cards, but at least it makes those decks playable right out of the box.
Yeah, that's cool. Lord of the Rings, from my experience, and there was a comment actually above. Schmendrick says Lord of the Rings LCG RNG driven difficulty has been hard to learn to navigate. I think later scenarios are better. Yeah, there's a lot of like you can get just very unlucky on the RNG based off of like the top of the encounter deck, and it have a huge impact on your success rate, like by a astronomical amount.
So LTR LCG has one of my favorite mechanical interpretations of theme for one particular character I've seen in any game,
Which one?
which is the character of Eowyn. In it like famously she rips off her helmet, says "I am no man," and then slays the Witch King. Uh, in in the LCG, she starts off as a very weak character with very low threat. So basically, like the enemies don't notice her in a sense if you don't know the game. And once per game, you could increase her threat by like 15 to give her a one-time massive attack to just eliminate one enemy. Like that's a pretty cool idea to like suddenly have everyone notice her, but just as she is killing the boss or something.
I looked through some of the cards today, and there's a cycle that has like because there's multiple versions of cards, so it's one version of Legolas and one version of Gimli that each basically have an ability that's very fitted for the other person. Like one of them will like unexhaust them and give them will. The other one will unexhaust them and give them like or throw out a card, and then they can be stronger, which I think is really cute considering that couple. We have one more simul
Mhm.
chip in the deck. Yeah, we're gonna run out of cards. That's a big issue here.
We really are.
And we can't deal with
Oh
price
man,
deck if they put on central servers.
we have burned through this deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn 4. 12 cards left. Let's go. Yeah,
Yeah.
Valentine, sorry. Excuse me, Scrub says we have some friends coming over this weekend who have Marvel Champions. I'll ask them to bring it so I can try it out. Yeah, Scrub, totally do it. It's also very like if you played Netrunner or Arkham Horror, like
Mhm.
there's nothing in there that's going to be like, whoa, you're not going to struggle to grok it. The structure, it's like there's an encounter phase and there's an action phase, there's an upkeep phase.
Mhm.
So, like it's all, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like other cooperative games. Like I play Aeon's End with a friend of mine. Uh, that one, I mean, that's a deck builder in the genre sense. Like you come into every match with a very bad pre-built deck, and you build your deck as the game goes on. But I like Aeon's End. It's smart, but it might not be like I don't know if it's like if its clever design comes through if you're not already aware of how board games sometimes go.
I played a bit of Ants and I haven't played enough.
Like the fact that you don't shuffle your deck when you have to draw cards, you just
That's
flip
cool.
your discard pile over
Yeah.
and start draw like that. Yeah, that's really cool, and can if you're really smart about it, can really turn into really clever, interesting situations.
We need
But if you
access.
if
Sorry.
no, go on, go on.
I was just saying for the combo, we need access to another simul chip and ideally the apocalypse.
Hmm.
Luckily with Caldera, they can't combo us. The worst they could do is put Prysac on Centrals, but that's why we have 3 deep dives. We have to deal with yeah, we basically just need to get breakers out. We could really use an SMC here in the deck.
Voluntarily, yes, exactly. It is like a co-op Star Realms. Your face like Aeon's End. Some people find it kind of ugly. Like the monsters you face are weird and off-putting. Um,
It is, yeah. I don't like the visual design of like the UI of the game. Like the what breaches are really they don't look like they're
mhm.
finished.
It doesn't make sense, and part of the game just doesn't look good. But it is basically a co-op Star Realms. You have your own separate decks. You're buying from a market, and but you're boosting each other. You're helping each other out, and you're like
Yeah.
some characters specifically like, hey, I can support you by paying for your cards on my turn or something.
Which you see that in Marvel Champions too, which is cool.
A little bit, yeah. Mm.
Okay,
I'm trying to think of other like co-op deck builders.
co-op deck
There, there's
builders.
there are bound to be better ones out there than Aeon's End. Uh,
Someday may get PvE. Flesh and Blood 2 is supposed to get PvE at some point, but
Ash, Ashes is getting PvE. I think the designer has said so specifically, and it might even be coming out pretty soon.
sick.
Yep.
Okay, well, Paperclip's in the bottom 4. That's a pro. No, we have it. So we're actually good to go next turn. We don't have the Apocalypse, but we might be able to draw into it.
Excuse me.
But we have 21 credits. We have no breakers on the table. They have 2 ice here. They can Ag Infusion us. So how do you do with Ag Infusion? You run the single servers first, right?
Hmm, I guess so. Do you like try to convince them you're about to do your deep dive run?
Yo, I watched Team Covenant the other day. I actually yesterday, right? And they're doing like a why to play Ashes.
Hmm,
So they're pitching it, and they spend so much
hmm.
time talking about how good the art is, and that can't be the best selling point for that game. Like
No, it
obviously the
can't be.
art's great, but like I feel like it'd be something stronger than that.
I don't even love the art. I wouldn't even say that's the game's selling. I think the art is different,
Hmm.
and its visual design is very different from other games.
Oh fuck, we don't have anything to install to for silent ship. What are we doing? Hope that we paperclip.
Oh,
Oh, whoops. Okay, hold on. Yep. Yep.
yep,
Don't
yep,
you need
yep, yep.
Riseki down? Yeah, yo, Vimes, how's it going? I totally goofed it. All right,
Uh,
one more turn.
there's if you want another idea for a co-op, yeah, distract the player more. Andre, I'm going to tell you about Legendary, which I think is like it's a very straightforward deck builder.
Isn't that like a Marvel
Probably,
thing?
yeah. The first set was Marvel. They've also done James Bond and Alien.
Okay,
Like and I think they're all mixable, which is wild.
cool. Like an
Um,
unmatched kind of thing.
yeah, a little bit. It is kind of a hot mess of a game,
Uh-huh.
but like I really liked it when it came out because it was just like a game that group of friends and I played almost every time. But it makes no sense. Like by the end of the game, you have a deck that's like I've got 3 Captain America cards and 2 Deadpool cards. They make no sense, but I think it's probably worthwhile.
Yo, this is really interesting because we have limited simul chips. We probably actually could have just installed like an oiler. Like we could have installed a breaker. Obviously, we're trying to floor it because we're scared of their setup. I'm not sure if they can combo that with 27 credits and a Caldera. Like I'm feeling pretty good about it. If they score out here, interestingly enough, they'll be underneath 15, which is actually quite important for
Mm.
them. Our last card in our deck, if I'm not mistaken, is a piece in our time, so we have no real interest to draw. So we could be good to go here.
I thought we only had 2 of those, but okay.
Piece? I think we have 3. Let me check.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 2. You're right. Oh, what's the last card? Simul chip, I think.
Mm.
Nope, 3 simul chips account for. I don't know what the last card is. What's like that one is like a deck builder game that has you fight enemies and thwart schemes. That's Marvel Champions. Yeah.
Mhm.
So they're advancing to 4. Thimble rig swapped on R&D. So we run the thimble rig first, right? Score to 5. And not loving it. All right, it's bacterial. So they can control the top of the deck, which means our deep dives won't exactly always work, but they have to pull the card somewhere. Nelson says, some other good co-op deck builder, Shadowrun, Crossfire, Dragonfire, think. I've never heard of that.
I'd meant to play Shadowrun Crossfire, never got around to it, but yeah, I've heard it's quite good.
Up there. Yeah, so they're scoring a bacterial, so they can look at the top 7, add any number to HQ, which sometimes is for the better. We definitely want to Apocalypse, I think, more than we want to deep dive, because if we Apocalypse this deck, it totally falls apart. Googling says Dragonfire is a D&D co-op deck builder. Interesting.
Oh, and there's also the weird Pathfinder Adventures.
Oh, did we
I
swap
think
Tau? Yeah, we swapped Tau, right?
I played a bit of that ages ago, but I don't think it was a. It's probably a good game, but probably way too expensive, and maybe even hard to find now.
Are we worried about Thimble Rig? I'm not sure what we do here. Again, I'm not running 100% today, but I'm not sure what we
Well,
should be road to
yes,
swapping.
sorry. I'm looking at this, and Ag Infusion will bounce us whenever we try to do our thing.
Once, though. That's fine.
Yeah, I think yeah. So if we have enough of those, then it's not the worst.
But I
But if it bounces us onto the kill
think...
server, then that's the
No, but we have Caldera. The kill server doesn't do anything. The kill server is useless. I just don't know what order we're meant to run stuff. Oh, Hero Realms is competitive, cooperative. I thought it was competitive. What do you do if they res an Anemone or a Nancy on you? We break it with Ika. Or we Caldera through and let it fire. Because they've already rearranged the top of R&D. So I'm not actually sure. The problem is like we in theory we should have swapped the thimble rig with in front of the thimble rig, because then we are not potentially, we just want to hit the less scary ice first. We'll see. This is awkward. If we had another program installed, it would probably be a bit better, just so that we have flexibility, because we have to simul chip the thing that we destroy. Like it's going to be ugly. Even a Pelongi is potentially, oh, that's fantastic that we actually get a paperclip on the table so that we have 2 Pelongi targets or simul chip targets. So this is 4 credits. Consider letting it fire, but if it hits the Apocalypse, we're in a bad spot. Then you're locked into getting Oiler if you run R&D first. Yeah, we are locked. You're right. What am I doing? Oiler? So we break for free though. They have 9 credits. So again, 1 more res and they're out of Anansi range. There's a Toy Story deck building game that I want to try with my 7-year-olds. That sounds awesome. Thimble Rig on top. We'll go HQ, I reckon. Because if there is an enemy, they'll trash a card. Then we run Archives. So this is a face down card. And so now the only thing they can boop us into is R&D, or I think they could Surat City to some extent.
Right, but we've got enough money that isn't a huge problem.
And like this big on the outside is huge for us, because if it was a Nancy, we'd have to hit it twice. Okay, 4 more credits. Money is gonna get tight. I prevented brain damage.
Did you prevent brain damage?
Yeah, I'll get the money back. At least we can't take brain damage. Obokata, we're not gonna steal it. The fact that we've milled through our deck so fast means the Obokatas are actually gonna be a problem. Like that is an issue.
No, that's huge.
Yeah, that's actually gonna be really quite big.
Just have to hope that they've got 2 more bacterials and then just a floating 3/2.
They have the 3/2. I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, the Harry Potter co-op deck builder is meant to be okay. I've heard that the difficulty is a bit like goofed, and the house rules are kind of necessary to make that game fun.
Is that Hogwarts Battle, I think?
Yeah, that's the one.
Mhm.
Boo J.K. Rowling though. Yeah, Ian. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course, of course.
There's an Obokata in here. Okay, so now we know we can go here to win. No action. Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay, so this is good, this is good. So we don't just make sure we have 4 cards left in hand
Yeah.
if we don't win otherwise. That's what we need.
Yes. So we see the top, nothing. So we just got to shuffle. We can trash an NGO front.
Sure.
Okay. No.
But don't spend a click on this, I think.
No.
Yeah.
All right. So as soon as we do this, we're out of Obokata range. So we have a bacterial here. So we're done. We're cooked. No, we could do it again. We could win. We could hit the other bacterial.
Should we have Apocalypse instead?
No, should we have? You think?
Oh, it's too late.
But why should we Apocalypse there? Because I think the only way we win is to find the bacterials. I think it's more important that we find the bacterials at all costs.
Okay.
Because now this like bacterial doesn't really matter because we shuffle unless they want to draw cards to hand, but there's no agendas in there. So it's going to shuffle after. Oh no, because they bacterial with the top 7 cards of R&D, which are actually not set aside by deep dive. So they're actually bacterialing unknown cards.
Oh, yeah. Huh. But it didn't matter because they're shuffled after deep dive. So it doesn't matter what they arranged.
Well, okay, so the corpus says the top 8 cards of R&D face up. So they're not the top of R&D. Access one of those. You may spend a click, but we haven't, like, this card is still resolving while bacterial. So right now they're actually looking at 7 cards that we haven't seen. Once they do that, the 7 that we haven't stolen are going to go back on top of R&D and then shuffle. So they actually are seeing 7 cards that we're not seeing, and they can choose to add any of those to hand or trash any amount. What? What? That doesn't make sense.
I thought this was resolved when this came out. Like, that's what the wording of deep dive was meant to be.
So I don't know if JNet's doing it right, because it says set aside the top 8 cards. So I don't know if they're still considered for the sake of bacterial programming to be the top 7. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That is cursed. Yeah, Slay the Spire, play co-op. I think that'd be really fun. You could kind of do it by just playing on the same team. But Slay the Spire put out like a community mod like a couple days ago on Steam that's been out for a while. It has a lot more content. It's like an official community mod.
I've been meaning to look into that. Yeah, I've heard there's some really interesting new classes.
Spire with friends. So what happened here? I honestly don't know what happened. Okay, so as soon as we deep dive, we're basically saying that we're only win off the 2 more agendas in the deck that we're able to steal. I think we have to do that. We're just 1 card short, like, or we Apocalypse. Like, I think we deep dive into Apocalypse and then just try and win off Centrals, but we could like get a conduit down maybe.
Yeah, I like deep dive first, and if that doesn't work, then Apocalypse.
No.
All right. Well,
we had a good run.
We had a good run, didn't we?
Yeah.
Let's trash Rashida and then Apocalypse.
All right. If we can't win, no one wins. I'm kidding. We'll probably lose. Continue to no current run. I don't know what this button is. I've never seen that before.
That's a weird button.
That's a weird button.
I'm going to click on Sad Stug's link.
It won't let us. It won't let us out. Please. We've dived too deep. I have a button that says continue to no current run. We've done a number to JNet for sure. Mine says the same.
Oh no. I guess we just continue.
We can't play the game.
So
oh, you did. Like,
that's so weird because like this is the end of the turn. This has nothing to do with
slash end run. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jason. Thanks, you drunk. Can they throw us out? Oh, thick.
Okay.
So we can't steal Obokata. We know there's 1 in hand, 1 in archives. So we have to win off finding the last 2 gems we can steal, which is not going to happen. In terms of our breakers, like we have paperclip on the table. We have access to one oiler. We have access to an Eka, but I don't think with the simul chips to pull it. So we're trying to win off of basically one paperclip. The game is over. Yeah, we've lost. We have lost the game.
Okay.
They had a hedge fund,
Okay.
so yeah, it's over. Well, we had a good
I mean,
run.
yep. Well, we've got paperclip.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all I'm saying. That's
That's
all we
we
got.
have paperclip, yes. But the only
Yeah,
barrier
yeah,
they have
yeah,
in their
yeah.
deck, I think, is
Is it's
Kakugo and
Gakugo, of
Hakarl.
course.
Hakarl would
Which is,
be fine.
yeah.
Aesop and Run RD, yeah, that's the best we got is Aesop. But no, we can't Aesop Run RD because we have the Aesop wait a turn Run RD, right?
Uh-huh. Thanks out of the ashes.
Might as well go check.
Yeah. Just to double check what ice
Double
isn't around.
Obokata, tracks.
Of course.
2 price
Price
decks are out,
X.
which are actually very good right now. No, thank you. No, thank you.
And there's only one Hakarl in there, so
Yeah, so we just
that's
basically
something.
install Aesops and we don't want to install this because it gives us access to one Kakugo. We've seen what, 2 Kakugo so far? Yeah. Double Obokata just hanging out. Yeah, I know. What about if we put like, I don't think we want to, but in theory you could consider playing the Harmony AR Therapy. I think they seem to be totally comfortable off of what's going on here. So we're just gonna die to basically anything. Like we die
Pardon me. Yeah.
to most ice. Oh, we don't die to that one.
But we don't get
Why
through it
bother
is the
installing
thing.
Aesop? So let's just get our paperclip in the bin.
Yeah, exactly. And then we can install paperclip
Yeah, so we can
when they
actually
res
deal
Kakugo,
with Hakarl
so
or
we can
one
die differently.
Kakugo.
Oh,
Oh yeah, okay.
okay. Well,
Okay.
that's something.
That
That's
seems
something.
good. So the only thing we can do is run server 4, which is gonna be an Obokata, so you can't steal.
Yeah.
Yeah, GG.
That's the GG.
Oh, he died to an enemy. Damn.
That's the game.
That bacterial thing
was-
is actually really interesting because that should work differently, I'm pretty sure. But not entirely sure. Somewhat sure.
Oh,
Everything was a bit too far to the bottom. But yeah, damage actually really does matter because the Obokatas are very, very quite hard to steal. And if I'm not mistaken, there's no way in the game to actually deal with Obokata besides like light the firing it in a remote server, but that doesn't even deal with it, right? Like you still have to steal it. So Obokatas, I think, is obviously a nightmare for this deck. There's just very few agendas in this deck that we could interact with. We needed to get a board state like we did in our first game where the opponent scores out the Obokatas, sorry, super early. So the deck is like a bit more easy.
Whistleblower is sad. Yeah, Whistleblower could have won us the game there.
I don't know. No, because it's a run
No,
event.
no, no. No, well, Whistleblower isn't a run event.
No, sorry. You trigger it when you access, right?
Yeah, you announce what card you're accessing. If it's the right card.
Wait, can you
Yeah, I can't use it during
whistleblower
deep dive.
archives? No.
I don't know, actually.
Yeah, you can't use a
Ah,
deep dive because
Whistleblower.
you're not accessing. Yeah, it's a successful run, excuse
Whistleblower's
me.
such a mess of a card.
Have you run access copy steal ignoring a cost. So like in theory, whistleblower archives Obokata works. Do I get a okay? If I throw you into death serve, do I get a pop off or do you get a jack out first? I'm not sure. But I have Caldera, so I wasn't convinced that I had to care. Yeah, so the question is, when they use their ability, can they send us to the server? Because then we're you may trash it, so we're encountering the piece of ice, which means that I don't think do they have a res window during encounter? Because the question is, they didn't know whether they could throw us into the server and then do everything. Because there's obviously not on approach, so they can't res ice on approach, but they could do it with Surat, right? So it seems like no windows to res. Yeah. Chat says there are no windows to pop off. Unless I keep running, of course. Yeah, if we decide to continue past the outermost, then they have a res window. If the other, yeah. Their central servers are actually like way softer than I thought they'd be. I was worried they're going to be like an Anansi, which actually would have been very, very difficult for us. Because then they bounce us into the Anansi over and over again, but we didn't see a single Anansi on the table. Yes. If you pre-res it, Yeah, I think you can pre-res it, but then you don't get the anemone trigger, right? So they could definitely pre-res it because you can res the price tag with the Surat to res at any like paid window, but then they don't get the ability. Yeah, the no res window during ice encounters. There's only a paid ability window. Okay. I had an NC up front. Yeah, you could have cheap res that with Surat by resing an upgrade. Yeah. This issue isn't res windows during ice encounters. Yeah, so I think they could have just like gone out their way at any window basically and res the Anansi so they have something to throw us in there. Is there a pay to window before a runner chooses to jack out? Oh. Huh. Yeah, yeah. The timing is tricky. Hey, cheers. Thanks for the game. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So what have we learned, Pat?
We learned that Out of the Ashes makes deep dive work very quickly if you
Yes.
draw them all very early and are able to trash them right away.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. And like I'm wondering, like, and we've also seen deep dive be very effective. Like Apocalypse was not necessary in any of our games.
No, I
I
think
think,
Apocalypse was not worth the 3 influence.
yeah.
Well,
Um,
Apocalypse I think is worth the 3 influence if you have a game plan, but we are
mhm.
shoehorning such a half-assed game plan into the
Absolutely. Well,
Apocalypse that it's
we've
not
got
worth it.
we've got exactly. We've got deep dive and then like a half finished plan
Yeah.
in three other situations. It's very weird.
Yeah, I think Apocalypse would only be worth it if we played Encore. Because and that
Mhm.
honestly might be worth it pursuing because if we Apocalypse and then also have a click to Encore, then potentially we
Mhm.
could like have a bunch of free clicks
That's it.
with something else, but then you'd have to like I don't know what you do because you need something on the table to get value out of the turn after you Apocalypse, right? Like you need equivocation, you need a conduit. But then there's no way to install that before you start Out of the Ashesing, right? Oh no, you could. You
Yeah.
could. It's just at that point you're sacrificing your deep dives, right? So you Out of the Ashes, you make 3 runs, you deep dive, then you maybe access 2, and then you Apocalypse, and then you like basically you deep dive Apocalypse Encore and then install like a conduit or something. But at that point,
And then
that's
yeah.
worse than just deep diving twice more by a
Mhm.
mile. So
Hmm.
this is wrong. And I've said it, I've been super surprised that people are not playing Apocalypse and they're like deep dive cheese lists, and I kind of get it.
Mhm.
I do kind of get it. It's wild though, and I think it's really hard to deal with this outside of like very in what's it called, very in faction tech like the net damage ice is something we can't deal with. Well, we can, or but like Obokata is hard to deal with. Stuff like that's hard to deal with. Just having enough cards is hard to deal with when we're trying to mosh through our whole deck. But it's going to be very interesting to see how this card goes. And we saw Sengren talk about it, and I have no doubt like the ability to play deep dive in moderation as opposed to like very single mindedly is going to be a really big thing in Shaper decks. Yo, out of all the cards in the Midnight Sun Boosters set, I think we've played all of them now on this channel. Maybe we haven't played
Okay.
Hakarl enough. I think which ones are you the most excited to deck build around?
Oh man. I mean, for the current card pool,
Yeah.
I actually like Azef Protocol. I want to see if I can make that work in a just like an attrition deck, like a value meat damage deck. Might be kind of interesting. Um, and Light the Fire, I don't deck build around. That's just a good card that's going to go into a lot of decks.
Yeah, I don't think it's hard to build around it, right? Like, well,
Mhm.
I think you can slot like the nuclear option for remotes, but yeah, I don't think you need to build around it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Flippy,
I
we
don't know.
used the gun last week. I think we emptied the whole thing last week, so it felt okay.
Hmm. Yeah, I suppose so. And like the NBN one is pretty interesting, but I think in standard there's a lot of options for doing similar things to what the NBN card is doing. Is it Novosibirsk Grid?
Vadisibirsk, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one I think I want to spend more time on because
Mm.
there's just like so many builds that I think is playable. Like playing the sort of like Acme-esque Yellow Glacier and then fast advancing out 4/2s seems quite powerful. Like there's a lot of agendas that don't see play, but the idea that you could score out a 4/2 from hand, It kind of looks good. Like the only decks that I've really played them are like really low to the ground, but I like the idea that you play it kind of like an austerity policy behind some ice. And it's just like, well, you have to deal with that eventually because I'm just going to keep getting value from it. And then they have to run it the next turn and trash it when it has no advancements on it. And that's like kind of good for you, or the turn after, more
Mhm.
likely.
Yeah, for sure. It's almost like Plan B made into a playable card. Also,
I never thought about that. That's
because
actually pretty fun.
yeah, like it does something similar, right? Like you upgrade it, and then next turn it becomes an agenda in a sense. I mean, it's a stretch. It's a stretch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not
But
gonna
it
commit to that
it
for
falls into the pit of like,
that is a risk. Yeah.
well, not pit, but like the NGO type abilities where like it's something you want to do in the remote server, and the runner basically has a no-win situation. Either they have to deal with it or they don't deal with it, and either way they're spending money and doing something, which is so important for the game that you're forcing things in a remote server that they have to deal with. That being said, this is pretty expensive. Advancements are expensive. Hopefully it's not expensive because you score the agenda anyways, but you know what I mean. This is a cool card.
It's got yeah, it's got a clever little um little condition on it, which I didn't appreciate before. But like, you can't do bits and pieces of advancements. You have to do two for two,
Yes.
right? Like that is an interesting break point for some edge cases. Yeah, the fact that it can't be used for just like little pings of one extra advancement when you need it,
Yes.
or it requires more setup. But then,
But you
yeah,
know,
I don't know. I just think it's interesting.
Pat, that being said,
But
like I think single advancing of Burst in a lot of decks is actually a legitimate play because you're not
mhm,
like over committing to this thing, and then next turn you can still score a 3-2 from hand.
right, you advance it and then spend it, of course.
Yeah, no, it's not the worst just to get a single advancement on here as long as you have the deck to support it. But I need to do more with this for sure. The whole like Urtica Cipher, like protecting this with an acid for like a turn or two, so they can't run it, so they take 4 net damage. I feel like maybe that's asking a bit much, but I don't know. I also want to try this in Jemison, which we haven't been
I
doing enough
suppose like
Jemison.
that's pretty obnoxious, and it doesn't work that long.
No, it's like a very narrow window until you have to trash it
It's very
yourself,
yeah, right,
right?
right? Like, I don't know if I like that, but it's fun to think about, like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, install another card there, and maybe they think that's the agenda, and you're slow rolling it despite having a fast advance. I don't know, that's very weird.
I tried it in Jemison and got wiped out. Yeah, Jemison's really tricky, and Jemison also is a very volatile deck because it's like very draw dependent. You need to get your chain running properly, or it falls
Mhm,
super flat. But I do love
yeah.
Jemison a fair bit.
Oh, wait,
These are
sorry, is the thing with Urtica that you put it on with no advancements, and then
yeah,
in an emergency, you transfer the advancements?
yes, but it has to be in
I
the
see.
server of the Ludisaburst. So as soon as you want to use the Ludisaburst
It's
to do
still a
something,
temporary
yeah, you have to wipe it yourself. Yeah.
yeah.
The Disperse and built the last time would be fun. Flippy, that's what we tried. It's a fast advance deck. And like it's so like this is the ideal card for built to last because it's a card that empties itself, but you also want to
Gives you so
re-advance
much
a lot.
value, yeah.
And the issue is like it's a lot of influence. And then I don't know what
Mhm,
4-2 agendas you're excited in built to last. Like you want to do more 3-2s, which is fine. This thing's still really good with 3-2s. Or
yeah.
Atlas with counters or what have you. Like that's fine.
Mm,
Anywho, it's getting
yeah.
about late. I'm still a bit foggy. Apologies if tonight was a bit messy, but hey, we got through it and we all got through it together. So appreciate y'all taking the time. What
Yeah. You know what? It's been a while since I had like kind of a Patrick book club in while Andre was trying to do more
I
complicated net runs.
totally could not engage hard enough in that
Yeah,
conversation.
I
I
know.
knew we were talking about Squirrel Girl, but apologies if I was a bit zoned out. I was trying to figure out how not to
Yeah,
get Jumaned on.
yeah.
Why not use Vlad
Well,
Grid with Urtica bluffs to actually score Jumon? Well, you could, but like I think a lot of the times you can just take the Urtica. Like I don't think it's a big deal. It's just it's also it's a lot of influence. 4 is an absurd amount of influence. Like you might as well just like play Ronin.
I hadn't appreciated that, but yeah, Vlad Grid can turn seamless into same turn score.
Yeah, same with dedication
Mhm.
ceremony, which is arguably
Oh,
better because
dedicate.
you have an extra advancement for the
Cannot
following
wait till
turn.
dedication ceremony just disappears.
Oh
It
man.
just I feel like dedication ceremony is used in ways that doesn't feel like that the spirit meant it to be used. That's all I dislike about that card.
Yeah, but that means it's a powerful and flexible card. You got to kill someone with a Ronin somehow, right?
If I wanted flexibility, I would make I would no 1 second.
Mhm.
I would have made like origami out of my cards.
Thanks so much for
I'm
watching.
going to I'm going to bed
Yeah,
now
we'll be back in
because
a
I'm
week.
tired.
Thanks so much,
I won't.
Pat.
I'll still be sleeping.
Pat,
Yeah.
thanks so much for joining me, man. Hopefully you're feeling a bit better.
Yeah, I hope I feel better soon. I hope you are feeling less foggy in the
Thanks.
coming days.
Otherwise, we'll be back in a week, or I'll be back in a week, Pat, anytime if you'd like. Otherwise, for all those watching on the stream, yo, thanks for hanging out. If you're watching this on the VOD, hopefully you're doing well as well. And to all the people we played against today, hopefully you're having a good game. Sorry that we cheesed out a bit with deep dive, but we got our justice there at the end. So
Yeah.
just desserts.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Ciao.
And yes, go see Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah, that's the plan.